All right. Yeah, man. Okay, here we go. Let me check this. Check. I like the sound of that better. I don't know why. I just do. But it's two different headphone mixes. Yeah, this is cool. Hold on. Check. Okay, and then let's go here. Check. No, so I don't hear the talk back here, but here. Check. I can't even tell anymore. Okay, all right. Here we go. An amazing week on Fade to Black. Tonight, Peter Slattery is here. ECETI, Australia, live from Down Under. Lots to talk about. We're going to go through his videos, too, as well. Probably talk some music as well, you know, because he is a rapper, R&B artist, and all of that good stuff. So that's tonight. I'm very excited about this. And then tomorrow night, unbelievably huge show tomorrow night, because tomorrow night, Curtis Don Vito is here. Rock star, frontman for the band Snoo, and amazing. Well, everybody knows about Snoo, but you may not know what inspires Snoo. And of course, it's UFOs and the experience. So all of that tomorrow night with Curtis Don Vito. And he says, you know, I'm just done, man. I'm done. I'm out. We're talking about it tomorrow. So there you go. Get ready for that. Curtis Don Vito tomorrow night. And if you don't have a chance, if you haven't already, you should go and check out some of the Snoo videos. Just go to YouTube, SNEU, and listen to his pipes. The whole band is amazing. Just old school rock and roll. But then you go and listen to the words, and you see that there's something else going on there. Tomorrow night, Curtis Don Vito is here. Wednesday night, Billy Carson is back with us. He just, he's been out in the country doing a bunch of research. He was in Mexico, he was in Peru, and he's back. Well, he's in the Bahamas right now, but he'll be back for the show tomorrow night. So there you go. Lots to talk about, lots to do. Here we go. The show is now going live. Enjoy. Have a good time. It's Monday.
Radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Welcome, Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah. And it's Monday, July 23rd, 2018. 205 days into the new year, just 160 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in beautiful downtown Burbank, California, and I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking? How you doing? It's Monday. Let's get straight to it tonight. Very special guest live from Australia. Peter Maxwell Slattery is here. Yeah, now we're going to do it all tonight. We're going to do UFO sightings, contact, all of that. We're going to go through a bunch of his videos, which are amazing. So we're going to, and I've done some of that over the last year, but tonight we're gonna break it all down and talk a little music too, because he's an R&B rapper, OG, Australian. That's right. So that's what tonight's show is all about. Tomorrow night, buckle up. It's a big show. Tomorrow night, you're not even going to believe this. Curtis Don Vito is here. Yep. Rock star, front man for the band Snoo, is going to be with us tomorrow night. And one of the great voices in rock, man. And when Snoo broke out, the buzz around Los Angeles and the rock circles about this band, and I immediately went and checked them out. An amazing, amazing band. But when it comes to Snoo, the first thing I think you notice is the vocals, right? And what's going on there, because he's just amazing, just an amazing singer. So there's that. But then he kind of breaks Snoo down, and it's rock and roll. It's got a modern twist to it. I don't think it breaks out into crazy town. That's not what I'm saying, but it's just this authentic musician-based rock and roll that is fresh, right? It's just amazing. But then you break it down, and it's the guitar playing is so cool, the bass playing is so cool, the drums are so cool, it's mixed so well, it's all and that is what Snoo is all about. Well, tomorrow night, Curtis Don Vito is here. And if you haven't gotten a chance, you should go check out some of their stuff. If you're a Snoo fan, then you know what it's all about. But go and listen to those vocals. And then, after you go, wow, right? But then listen to the words, because everything will take on a new meaning for you with the band Snoo, and certainly with Curtis after tomorrow night's show. That's right. Oh, it's going to be amazing. So get ready. Curtis Don Vito is here tomorrow night. Wednesday night, Billy Carson is back. And he's been out of the country. He was in Mexico and then went to Peru doing a ton of research. He's back. What did he find out? Well, as only Billy Carson can do it, that's what we're going to have a conversation about on Wednesday night. Really looking forward to that. Thursday night's another Fader Night with John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom Live, followed by Open Lines all night long. Friday night, I am off. But Saturday and Sunday, I am over hosting Coast to Coast for the weekend. I don't think Coast to Coast has announced yet the shows. I'll have to go and take a peek. If they have, then I'll announce it tomorrow night. But if they haven't, I got to show the respect and let them announce it first, which will be Thursday night. But I'll be over at Coast to Coast all weekend. Okay, so there you go. Craziness. An amazing week set up right here. Now, if you haven't been over to OnStellar yet, go and do that. OnStellar, OnStellar.com. I loved all of the messages this weekend from everybody that were new to OnStellar, thanking me for announcing it here on the show all the time. So they, finally were motivated to go over and check it out. I was like, oh man, this is great. Well, thank you. When you get over there, send me a friend request after you update your profile picture. All right? It's that simple. Get a profile picture, send me a friend request, and I'll friend you right back. I posted articles over the weekend and also another new one today, the Fade to Black show notes. So those are up over at OnStellar. And if you read it, then you know what I'm about to talk about here in just a minute. You can also follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio, Facebook, YouTube. And I don't know how much longer we're going to keep Facebook alive. It's barely hanging in there for us. We just do the automatic posting over there now anyway. And YouTube is still hanging in there too. So the links to follow, like, and subscribe over at jimmychurchradio.com. If you want to hang out with us in the sandbox, you can do just that by hashtagging F2B, hashtag F2B on Twitter. Come and hang out with us there. We have 2 chat rooms that are open, Spreaker and KGRA The Planet. And you can also email me, Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. Got some breaking news. Because images were public. Man, River Moon Coffee. I just can't help it. I got to put this down. New images were published today by the monitoring group 38 North, which indicates North Korea has begun dismantling key facilities at the Shohei satellite launching station, a move that analysts say represents an important first step towards fulfilling a commitment made by Kim Jong-un during his summit with President Donald Trump in Singapore. We shall see. You can't hide from satellites. You know, it used to be those U-2 and SR-71 flyovers, rough satellite images, but you couldn't just, and even those pictures. But, you're risking a plane and flying into somebody's airspace. But today, man, satellites are good, and they're always there. They're always there. All right, there is still a 20% discount on all offerings. Take a break from River Moon Coffee. rivermooncoffee.com. Use the promo code COFFEEBREAK. Coffee, 2 words, break. Coffee break. Coffee break. I like saying coffee. Coffee talk. Yeah, that is coffee talk, actually, right there. 20% discount right now. River Moon Coffee, and that includes our very own Fade to Black blend. I do want to remind everybody that August 17th through the 19th, I will be at Dimensions of Disclosure in Loveland, Colorado, with Corey Good, David Wilcock, Emery Smith, Teresa Yanaris, Gerald O'Donnell, Jordan Sather, and over 20 other speakers and presenters. Just go to dimensionsofdisclosure.com. I'll be there on Sunday night. All right, so go and check it out. And they have a really cool dome at this facility. I think I'll be hosting the panel on Sunday night. I'll be there all day Sunday. Really looking forward to it. It's a really nice facility, and they've got all the pictures over there for you to check out, dimensionsofdisclosure.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, where we have over 890 archive shows. Wow, we're coming up on show number 900. Huh. When is that going to happen? What's the show number today? Does anybody know? Is that going to be next Thursday? Somebody figure that out for me. I don't even know what the show number is today. Somebody help me out. What's the show number today? So there's 8 shows. Are we at 892 today? So that would mean, am I right? Is my math right? Or is it going to be the Monday after? I don't know. Somebody pop it up there on Twitter so I won't look completely doofused out. You can also become, that's just $2 a month for the podcast, by the way, jimmychurchradio.com. And you can also become a Fadernaut over in our membership section on the site. You get the Bunker Cam commercial-free downloadable archives. And if you get the Game Changer, you also get that famous Fade to Black gear, and it's autographed. I want to let everybody know a little bit of a public announcement. We have just started, it was over the weekend, a new shipper and fulfillment system and software. Got everything done this weekend, and we were doing it old school before, and it's somewhat automated, but now everything is automated. So when your shipment goes out, you're sent an automatic email with the tracking number of everything. And also in setting up the software, we found a few stragglers out there that were just kind of hanging, and then we didn't know why. They were just like lost in the system. And it was because of like 2 different emails were used in different spots on it. And so we modified the software on the site too as well. Should streamline everything. but now it's all automated, and it was really fun to do. But it was also an eye-opener going back, and we caught it was weird. It was too big of a number. It was like five, which is too many, that were just lost in the system, and we couldn't chase it down. I couldn't track it down. Well, we ended up doing that, and it was really cool to get everything out automated, just automated. So there you go. Did you get your tracking number? It's pretty cool, man. All automated. It was just beautiful. So there you go. Okay, where am I at? Don't forget all of our sponsors here. Life Change Tea, GetTheTea.com, River Moon Coffee, Ancient Life Oils, Sacred Skulls, Numana Food Storage and Bearing Optics. Everything that you need, promo codes and links back to their websites are all right there at JimmyChurchRadio.com. The banners are there. Go and help support the show. Everything that we offer here with our sponsors is the very best. And it's stuff that we use. Okay? So that's really the truth. So go and support the show. Visit all of our sponsors. And with that, let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today. Slash is 53. Woody Harrelson is 57. The Big Lebowski, True Detective, Cheers, 2012, Kingpin, Natural Born Killers, Zombieland. And I went through his IMDb page today, and that was like a really holy crap moment. You kind of forget how much stuff Woody Harrelson has actually been in. Happy birthday to Woody Harrelson. You know, who would have thought that Cheers would have led to that kind of career? Our dead guy's birthday today is Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yeah, I know. 1967 to 2014. Died at the age of 46. Won the Academy Award for Best Actor for Capote. He was amazing in Magnolia. And again, The Big Lebowski, Woody Harrelson, and Philip Seymour Hoffman shared the same birthday and starred in the same movie. And he was really, really good in The Master. And if you haven't checked that out, you should go and watch that. On February 2nd, 2014, Hoffman was found dead in the bathroom of his Manhattan apartment by a friend, playwright and screenwriter David Barkatz. Hoffman was just 46 years old. Detectives searching the apartment found heroin, prescription medications at the scene, methamphetamine, and revealed that he was discovered with a syringe in his arm. Unbelievable loss of a great talent right there. Happy birthday, Philip Seymour Hoffman. On this day in history, OTD, 1982. On this day, Vic Morrow and two child actors, Renee Shin Chen and Micah Dinley, are killed in an accident involving a helicopter during the filming on the California set right here at Universal Studios of The Twilight Zone, the movie. Happy birthday. Wow. You know, I'm just thinking about that. Can I just say happy birthday? Let me back up, and I just wanted to comment on this a bit. In 1982, when this story broke, there wasn't the internet, there wasn't a 24-hour news cycle. And it just kind of came and went. And the film was released, and the story behind it, you know, were they going to release the footage of the accident in the film? And there was a little bit out there, but it just didn't grab the headlines, right? And today it would have been totally different. And then the movie came out, and after the proliferation of YouTube and the ability to go back, those videos were put out there, and I did. I went and watched it. But it's the story behind it and how it actually happened. Newbie says Slash is 56. Huh. Is that right? Is he 56? What does it say on Wikipedia? I don't know. I got it that he was 53. But it was just a strange thing. It was a strange thing how that happened, and it shouldn't have. Fate or fact, Cards Against Humanity bought an island in Maine to preserve wildlife. It is called Hawaii 2. You can look it up. The number 2, Hawaii 2. Went and looked at it today. Nice island. Yeah. Well, tonight, very special guest Peter Maxwell Slattery is here live. ECETI, Australia. Tomorrow night, Curtis Don Vito is here. Frontman for the band Snoo. Unbelievable show tomorrow night. Wednesday night, Billy Carson is back. He's been out of the country doing research for the last month. So we're going to go through all of what he found out on Wednesday night. Thursday's another Fader night with John Rappaport. Okay, now, last week, Rita and I were driving around, and as we exited the freeway and stopped at the light, waiting to turn left, I looked out my window, and next to me was a homeless guy with his dog. And outside, it was a solid 110 degrees, blazing hot. And I reached into my pocket and grabbed what I had. I had a $5 bill. That was it. And I rolled down the window and handed it to him. And it was really strange because we had a conversation. Talked about the brakes on my car, nice calipers. I was like, what? And I asked him about his dog. And we actually had this conversation. Light turns green. We got to leave. So we turned left. Today, I was out doing some errands. Excuse me. And I was pulling out of a parking lot. And while I was waiting to turn right into traffic, again, to my left is another homeless guy, different homeless guy, with his dog in the hot sun. And today in Burbank, it was crazy hot. Again, 100-degree day. And I just turned, grabbed what I had on me, which was $4. I had $4. That's it. And handed it to him. And he was so thankful. It caught him by surprise that I even spoke to him. And he almost started crying. He got really emotional. And he was kind of a younger guy, too. I would say he was probably 35, right? I don't think he was 40. Homeless with his dog and, a shopping cart with all his stuff in it. It was just strange. And I wish I had more, but I just don't carry cash around with me these days. And who does, right? It's all about ATM cards and whatever, and you just never carry cash. And I would have gave him everything I had. Well, I did give him everything I had. Well, as I drove away, heading back home, I remembered Christmas Day back in 1992. And my family, and I just thought about this whole thing, the whole memory, all of it just came back to me. My family was flying in from Columbus, Ohio, Christmas Day. This is Christmas Day. Why my family chose to fly on Christmas Day, I don't know, but they did. And while I was waiting for my parents to land, I was checking out my fridge in the kitchen, and just like, my parents are coming by with my brothers, and what do I, and I thought, oh man, I don't have anything here to drink. I don't have anything, soft drinks, whatever. I just didn't have anything, beer. And I decided I needed to drive up to the store and get some stuff, right? And, normal stuff, but my mom is coming here with my dad and my brothers, and she's going to poke around my kitchen, and I need to have stuff in there, right? You know the drill. So I hop in my car, and I drive to Pavilions in Sherman Oaks, which, by the way, Rita and I drove by yesterday or the day before, and it's closed. It's closed down, boarded up. Kind of freaked me out a little bit. But, it was an institution there in Sherman Oaks. But Christmas morning in the Valley is probably just like any other city in America. Christmas Day, Christmas morning, empty streets. And as I drove, I was enjoying the lack of traffic and just, I felt like Omega Man, Charlton Heston, blowing through stoplights, and I turned left into Pavilions off of Ventura Boulevard, all alone. And as I make my turn, I see a homeless guy with his dog in a shopping cart at the entrance to the parking lot. Older guy. He was black. And I drive past him, and I park my car, and I go in and do my stuff. And I'm the only customer in Pavilions. Again, Charlton Heston, Omega Man. And I say Merry Christmas to the cashier and split. I go out and I load up my drinks into what is probably the only car in the parking lot. And I get in and head for the exit, and there's the guy and his dog. And I pull up and I roll down my window and I say Merry Christmas. And he says Merry Christmas back. And then he asked me if I wanted to read some of his poetry. And he pulls out a neatly stapled stack of paper, and he offers it to me. And I take it, and I put it on this. I don't even look at it. I just take it, and I put it on the passenger seat next to me. And I asked him how much for the poetry. And he said he didn't want anything. So I grabbed my wallet, and I pulled out a $20 bill. And I asked if I could donate. I said, here, just take a donation then. And he replied with, oh, man, you don't have to, man. I don't need it. I'm good. And I insisted, and he eventually took it. He didn't really want it, though, but he took the 20. And I asked him at that point, I said, dude, how did you get here? And he looks at me, kind of strange. And I said, all alone, on Christmas Day. And his reply freaked me out. And it trips me out to this day. It really does. It affected me. He said something like, life's a trip, man. Sometimes you just end up here. And he smiles at me. And we said our goodbyes. And I turn right and I head up the street. And I got this lump in my throat, and I'm looking at him in my rearview mirror, man. Alone. I mean, alone. There's not a car on Ventura Boulevard. Not a car. Empty parking lot. And there he is with his dog. And I just started crying. And I cried all the way home. And I get there, and all I could think about, I'm parking my car. My parents are upstairs. And they had arrived. And all I could think about is I was worried about having cold drinks for my family on Christmas morning. And there's this guy and his dog sitting outside a supermarket all alone. And it messed with me. It shook me. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the feeling. And I go upstairs and we drink those refreshments that, and I got to tell you, it just sucked. All of it. The next day I was driving, and I looked down at the seat next to me, and I see his poetry. And I parked my car. I grabbed it. I went upstairs. I sit down on the couch, and I started reading. And it was amazing. It was like amazing poetry. All of it. And then as I'm flipping through, and it was like 20 or 30 pages. I still have it, by the way. And I get to the last section. And the last section of this stapled, it was very neat, by the way, was an article from Time Magazine. And I'm looking, I'm like, why would he, this is poetry. Why is this article here from Time Magazine? And I look at it, and it's a picture of this guy sitting in an office on top of this office building in downtown New York City, big windows, looking down at the skyline, the Empire State Building out there, obviously very high and beautiful, majestic shot. And this guy in a nice tweed jacket, with a pipe and those leather elbow patches, And I'm looking at the article, I'm thinking, what? And the article is about the next big thing in poetry. And I look, and I was like, that's the homeless guy from yesterday. And I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. He's exactly the same in this picture as he was the day before. And I'm like, how old is this article? And I look, and it was from 1987. That was 1992, so it was only 5 years old. So I just jump in my car and I head back to Pavilions looking for this guy. I couldn't believe it, but he wasn't there. And I drove up and down Ventura Boulevard searching. He was gone. And I thought to myself, how does this happen to somebody? You know, and I'll never know. I never saw him again. For the next year, every time I drove around Sherman Oaks, I looked for this guy, but he just disappeared. And I'm saying this because this is part of why I am who I am. That was a long time ago. I never pass judgment on anybody. I just don't do it. I learned my lesson. What made me stop and talk to the poet? I'll never know. I don't know. You know, what I do know is that I've been through some tough times too. We all have. Really tough. And I get that. And I'm not going to go into any details, but I'm going to say this. You'll go through phases in your life when things are good. And when they are good, you have friends because they want to be around you. But when things get hard for whatever reason, you will really find out who your real friends are because you become invisible. And it happens quick. When you take the time to stop and help someone, you help equalize the universe. But it's not in the way that you think. What you are really doing is showing someone that they are not invisible, that they matter. All day long, people walk by the homeless and the needy and they ignore them like they don't exist. Imagine feeling like that, totally, utterly invisible. You know, you don't know what got them there. You don't. You think you do, but you seriously don't unless you ask, but you won't, and I get that. But don't ignore them. What if I just drove past that poet on Christmas Day? What if, right? Well, the first thing that you wouldn't have right now is me telling you this story. But second, and most important, the poet would have had just another person ignore him, look away, like he wasn't even there. And I know today the lesson that I learned is that nobody should ever feel like that. So what do? You reach in your pocket, you take out your last dollar, you look them in the eye, and you say, "How you doing?" That's it. Let them know that they exist. Help restore the balance of our universe. I went through a very strange period back in the 90s, mid-90s, where I lived large, or I thought I was, right? I had 3 color TVs, 3 DVD players, 3 stereo systems, 1 in each room. I had a nice car downstairs. I had everything that I wanted, and just life was good. And I went through real guilt with that. And I thought to myself, there are people around the world that don't even know what a TV is or would love to have the chance to even watch a television. And here I am trying to upgrade each room to the next biggest TV, and my life was all worried about these material things. And I went through a weird phase with that where I had this guilt. I had this guilt. And all of this is part of who I am. I don't pass judgment. No matter what, that last dollar in your pocket, you think you need it? You don't. You're walking into a store. You're walking down the street. Chances are you just parked your car. And at home, where you have heat and air conditioning, you have all of those creature comforts. That last dollar where you think you're struggling, there's somebody else out there that not only needs it more, but they don't get looked at. And people walk by them. And so it's not that you're giving them your last dollar. That's not the point. That's not how you change the universe. You know how you change the universe? Say hello. Let them know that they exist. That is changing the universe. Just let them know. Chances are, and I want you to think about this, chances are you saying hello to them, that might be the first time it's happened to them in a week, 2 weeks, where they go by day with nobody even acknowledging. Think about that feeling, and that is wrong, and that's how you change the universe. Go and do it. You'll be glad you did. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Peter Maxwell Slattery, live from Australia. Tomorrow night, that's right, Curtis Don Vito is here from the band Snoo. Wednesday night, Billy Carson. Thursday night, Fader night. Friday, I'm off. Saturday and Sunday, I'm over at Coast to Coast AM, so you got a full week of the kid. Good luck with that. It's Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back. Stay with me.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
What can I say about the most popular tea on the internet? And what do customers say about Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com? A lot. But by federal law, we at GetTheTea.com cannot make claims to how this product can enhance your health. We cannot even post our testimonies without being in compliance. So how do we get past the hump? Try our products at GetTheTea.com and see for yourself. You can send us a testimony, but we just can't post it. Bummer. Our products are GMO-free and organic. We pride ourselves in being the best we can be, and we urge you to take charge of your health. We're 11 years strong, and many of our customers have shared their successes with friends and family. Protect your colon. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet. Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at KGRAradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. KGRAradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Too much coffee. This segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by Life Change Tea. GetTheTea.com. Head over there, use the promo code FADER, F-A-D-E-R. You will get free shipping. It's that simple. Tonight, Peter Maxwell Slattery. He's an international best-selling author and is known as an ET contact experiencer, co-founder of eSETI Australia. His experiences started at an early age and continue to this day with hundreds of witnesses to events. Now, he has an overwhelming amount of photographic and video evidence of UFOs. We're going to go through a bunch of that tonight. Otherworldly beings and apparitions, along with a sound recording of a real UFO, as well as other phenomena, plus physical trace evidence. He has appeared on Channel 7's Prime News and Sunrise, among many other TV appearances internationally. He has made worldwide news, been in numerous documentaries, mainstream radio shows like this one, magazines. Pete is also a chart-topping rap artist under the name P-Max. You probably didn't know that, did you? And he has made 8 documentaries on the subject of ETs. I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, Peter Maxwell Slattery. Pete, how are you, man?
Good, mate. Thanks for having us on.
Man, the Down Under, man. I love it. I love it. And you know what's really great, Peter, is I don't know how. I really don't. I don't know how or why. But our audience in Australia is humongo. I mean, it's just incredible. And you're going to be on the show tonight, and I'll get the flood of emails. Thank you, Australia representing. But it's really, really cool. Why do you think that is? I mean, what is going on with the paranormal and UFO community in Australia that they are attracted to this show? I love all of the Australian audience, but for me, it kind of caught us by surprise.
I think it would be a culmination of things, but really just the down-to-earthness of how you conduct the interviews. I guess also the discernment thing as well, and looking at both sides. And I think bringing that to the community in general, because I think it's been lacking it for quite some time. It's always been there, but depending on the shows or the hosts and the TV shows that deal with this sort of thing, I think when you have a fair go, like we say in Australia, and you have somebody doing that with the show, they're looking at both sides, they ask the hard questions. I think that brings entertainment, plus it brings they learn, they get taught from listening to this from yourself and others, and get ready on certain subjects and information. And Australians have a thirst for knowledge and hearing stuff like this, and there's a lot of stuff going on down under as well, but there hasn't been really any shows or things to sort of highlight that, but that's why they're looking elsewhere. And we're very similar to America in a lot of aspects, so I think that attracts them as well.
There's another strange thing about Australia. You guys have everything over there. You've got some of the great UFO sightings and stories there, but you've got ancient history, ancient culture, really ancient stuff. You've got a strange connection to Egypt, the possibility of influence from China too as well. So you've got all, and then you have the paranormal stuff and some of the ghost sightings and activity over there too are some of the greatest stuff that is happening around the world. I can't explain that. I mean, it's like you guys have the best of everything all at the same time.
It's a pretty broad scope, and I've been to a lot of the haunted places in Australia, so I've experienced, in my everyday life, I've got high strangeness that some call that, but I've been to the most haunted house in Australia, which is known as Monte Cristo. I've done investigations at a lot of the asylums and that, which a lot of people don't even know that I was a paranormal investigator for some time with this, but it is everything from ancient civilizations to the paranormal to UFOs to I don't know, it's just such a broad scope. So I guess we've got a lot going on here, but also it's almost like the last thing to be found out. A lot of people know about a lot of American stuff and the UK and Europe and other places, but not so much focus has been on Australia. And I guess to a lot of people this is new and, a lot to learn.
And you also have your own Area 51. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like the trifecta.
Exactly, yeah. Pine Gap, which is the Joint Space Defence Facility with America and Australia. And, there's been a lot of crazy happenings and sightings out there.
Have you been to Pine Gap?
No, recently I was actually at Area 51, which we got some crazy stuff which I haven't shown yet. I've sort of got to go through gigs, like over 100 gig of stuff that I got on camera while I was in America for 2 weeks. But I haven't been out there. I've spoken to people about Pine Gap. There's apparently been sources that are very similar to the Bobblers sports model that he termed that similar to Area 51 with I think it was a backward American flag that they've seen on it out there, a few of them actually. Apparently it's multi-leveled. I've actually done remote viewing and connected with a being that was inside there as a blind target, not knowing it was Pine Gap. But talking to other people and researchers, there seems to be a lot going on there. But like anything, if you know about the facility, I think it's old news. There's still some things that would be going on there, but I do know through the grapevine and talking to people that are in some of these projects that there is other places in Australia that the stuff is really going on now, and it's pretty much as where Pine Gap and I guess Area 51 would have been going back to in their day when they were being created, or, you know, bringing in the concrete, setting up the facilities for what purpose they had back then. And then by the time the public find out about it, like anything, they've already got something else set up somewhere else and carrying on the projects or advancements.
Now, could Pine Gap, I know this is going to be just like the ridiculously stupid question, but could Pine Gap be any more remote?
Well, not really, but yes, because the reason I say that, yes, it's smack bang in the middle of Australia, and from what I know, that a lot of the drones are either, I might be wrong, but from what I was told, out of Catalina Island, or they're flown out of Pine Gap by US personnel for a lot of the projects that they're doing over, you know, would say maybe near Asia, the Middle East, a lot of things like that. But it's a 3-hour drive, I think, from Alice Springs, which is a town that actually has an airstrip there where you can land with the plane. So basically, if you fly there and you get in the car and drive 3 hours, you're at Pine Gap. But if you put it even more south or somewhere else, you know, you probably could put it a few hours more west, because it would take you like ages to even try and get into that area. Because really, once you get to Western Australia and the guts of it in the centre, like my parents-in-law are out there now, and they could go like a couple of weeks without seeing a soul. Right. And you wouldn't even travel that far because you need a really good four-wheel drive to deal with the terrain that's really intense and hardcore out there. So they could have done it a little bit more. You got Woomera out there, a base out there as well, that apparently a lot of hardcore and exciting things have been seen out there. But, you know, you go back to the heyday 1966 when it was created and they joined with the CIA and they built this base. You know, 1966, that would have been very remote.
Yeah, it's a crazy looking base too. I'm looking at it here. That is just insane. But yeah, they definitely put it where nobody can easily access it. I mean, there's a freeway right there, but you have to, and even the freeway is a long ways away. You really have to want to get there. I'm wondering what the security is like when you approach the base, if it's anything like Area 51, and I'm sure that it is.
Yeah, I'm sure it's similar. Now, don't quote me. I think it might be 3 hours from Alice Springs, but either way, it's a quick drive from there. But I know that a lot of the personnel, whether if they're staying on board, they'll like on the facility. If they're not there, they'll probably be near Alice Springs somewhere. Which, I think the security will be pretty darn tight, just like Area 51.
Now, what is it about you? Your videos, which you have sent me stuff over the last year, and we talked about one earlier today, the flying saucer. I saw that, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was that incredible. What is it about you? Is it because you've had a life of contact? Does ET know where you are? I mean, how do you attract these? You're at the right place at the right time for some of the most incredible footage that is out there anywhere.
Well, you spoke to James, and James can tell you, even when I was at the ranch, anywhere I am, I've got a camera on me 24/7 because I didn't ask. I know I've got past life recollection now. I've got a connection to the beings, and I believe that every single person on this planet is an experiencer. But I always have a camera on me, And it took me, I talked to Antonio Urzi. I don't know if you know him, but he's in Italy with probably the best footage on the planet. And he said he took as many years as it has for me to even film this stuff. Like, it took me, like, I was living by myself in an apartment when this started to happen again since my earlier days. Like, I'm only 34 now, but I'm talking like my teenage years and when I was earlier. And this stuff, I started to experience this stuff after I moved back from the Hollywood on the Gold Coast, we call it in Australia. And I captured this stuff on camera and it all of a sudden was on the news, but I started having crazier stuff happen and I needed to capture this. I thought I was going insane. I got my brain scanned. I got a lot of stuff done, but my family and friends were with me and they didn't know what they were seeing. But I always, and to this day, right now, like even now I'm using a 4K camera. So part of it is I've got this connection and yes, I've got a camera on me. That's how I'm able to capture these things. But the thing is, when people are around me, and I've had hundreds of people now experience this stuff and it's not me, sometimes what I'm experiencing with them is not even for me, it's for them to see it, but for some reason I'm the one that will pick up on it and then they start to go on their journey afterwards. So I believe everyone's an experiencer, but I'll tell you something funny. I don't think I've said this public because I rarely do anything these days like this, but that sighting of the flying saucer, my wife, her 2 sisters and her brother and all their kids and her parents were all having dinner, and that came over at dinner and everyone saw it. And they're very skeptical, and there's a daylight sighting of a UFO that they all got to experience. So I've got about 13, 14 witnesses to that sighting, and it was quite an amazing. When it first came in, her father said to me, and he's an engineer. He was he's a great engineer, scientific minded, logical. He believes we're not alone, but he didn't think these things were visiting us. And to this day, he does not know what he experienced that day. But he said to me, he goes, I wish you got it when it came over us next to the swimming pool, because he goes, geez, it was low. And I said, yeah, like I was just trying to grab the camera and fumble getting it out, because I'm just like, this is epic. My whole family and all my in-laws are experiencing this. You know what I mean? So that was like...
What did it look like?
When it came in...
What year was this, Peter?
This was last year in December.
Right, okay.
So this is like really recent in terms of... I think you ended up getting your hands on the photos maybe through James.
Right.
Because I got photos and snapshots and the actual video. It was very hard because it did look like something on the sci-fi movies where it was wonky on a 45-degree angle spinning. It wasn't stationary. Like this thing was spinning and turning. And what happened, so it looked like, and I spoke about this before, but this is a lot smaller. You know the weights on the end of the bars in the gym, like a weight?
Right.
If you put that sideways and it's like a dark matte grey, that's what it looked like. And it had a ridge underneath. Now, what we saw as well was the inside of this craft went from being completely solid to turning into a donut and then reforming like liquid metal.
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible video. We're going to go through it in just a minute after the break. Before we get to that, and this is okay. Well, I tried to get off of this. We'll discuss it again in a minute. But when I first saw it, all I could think about was this is a classic flying saucer. It's like it's exactly what people have imagined or seen over the years, but this just happened. I mean, I couldn't believe it. When I posted the pictures, I don't even know how to describe it. I like the barbell. That's exactly what it looks like. The old the plastic weights that were like filled with sand or something. I don't know how to explain it, but that's exactly what it looks like. I want to go back to your first experience though, when you came back from the Gold Coast and what hit the news. Tell us about that.
Well, see, I was having experiences years before that between the ages of 8 and 12, and I wasn't sure with what I was seeing, and I was actually seeing beings and interacting with them and crafts. But what happened was everything sort of died down for probably a period of, don't quote me, we'll say 10 years, give or take, or around that anyway. And so I was experiencing high strangeness and paranormal activity, and I knew that we weren't alone, but these beings that I had seen previously, I didn't know if they were angels, demons. I didn't know what I was experiencing, so I wasn't equating it to anything. But what happened was I was a rapper at the time and still am, but I've had a long break from it. But I was living on the Gold Coast, and just things weren't working out. So I drove basically 2,000 Ks back down to where I'm from, which is a town called Albury, basically halfway between the cities of Melbourne and Sydney in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And my best mate was visiting me, and we started to have these strange, like, I'll just go, look at this, and he would come out with me out the front door, and here are these orbs doing crazy maneuvers and blinking in and out and doing stuff. And so this happened. I think there was 6 sightings in a fortnight, and maybe 5 of the sightings I had. He had one sighting himself, and he's gone on the record with this, and the news ended up doing a piece on it. I don't know how they found out about it. I can't remember that far back in terms of the details of that, but they ended up getting their hands on it and had it analysed, and then they did a piece on it. And it wasn't too much of a, making fun of it. They had to do it at the end saying that I was filming Venus, but you can see me point at the object and then it shoot off. And I think if you go onto my YouTube channel, one of the first videos, if you scroll right back, it will be me on Prime News, not the Sunrise one, a different one. And there was just a thing on it from there. And I just thought, watch these lights. I'm not the only one seeing it. Other people are experiencing it with me. And then things really picked up and got more intense from there, to the point where I started to see these blue orbs manifest in the house out of flashing light, and they would scan the house. And then later on I found out what these blue orbs are, plus a range of other beings, and I would be... And mind you, a large amount of these interactions have been daytime experiences, and people have been present for some of them. A majority of them they haven't, but they have seen the orbs and they have seen the crafts, and they've experienced high strangeness with me, which a lot of it has been caught on camera.
What do you think the orbs are doing?
Well, the orbs are a range of different things, whether it's a massive consciousness, soul essence. They'll show me that from a geometric light blueprint, instead of imploding, these things explode into our reality and they start to manifest, and either from that orb they can fully manifest into whatever they want. That orb could even manifest into a craft the size of the Earth or bigger. Like when you say what an orb is, and it's like not paying people out, but it's just like asking, what type of, that's a plant, how many type, what do you think that plant is? And it's like, well, there's so many, I'm using a stupid analogy, but you know what I mean? There's so many different vast types of plants on planet Earth, let alone in Australia, that it's not just one black and white answer to those questions, because it's very multi-layered, that I was later shown.
The stories that have been about other experiencers that have been coming forward about blue orbs, and it's not just 1, 2, it's a multitude, and I've seen one. Mine was gray, by the way, but I had witnesses with me too as well, and I didn't think I was seeing what I was seeing until somebody next to me said, "Hey, is everybody watching that gray orb out there?" And I was like, "Oh man, holy crap, it's real, right?" But these blue orbs, I've had guests and callers on this show 5 years ago talking about this. I don't know what is going on, Peter. I really don't. If it's interdimensional, if it's ET, if it's spiritual, I don't know what's happening, but the phenomenon is real.
Well, I can tell you from my experience what the ones are I'm seeing. I do know that. And I've tested it. I do test these beings. I test the information. I test a lot of things with it. But these blue orbs, what I later found out, what happened one day was they manifested into these 7-foot tall light beings. And they looked sort of more male, but they weren't. And this was a projection I later found out. And they told me that they're the Elohim. And this happened back in 2011. And I was public about this because I had books out at the time with this stuff, because I've documented everything, date, times, photos. I've even got photos of the blue orb that I think one of them may be up on the website in the paranormal section. But this was like liquid, like a light blue liquid light. And 2 of them approached me. One of them said, "We are Elohim." Now, later what I found out is that all our higher selves, if you imagine source, God, whatever people want to call it, it's got a geometric blueprint, and everything's made out of these purple hue dodecahedrons that I've seen, this geometry.
Right.
But there's a blueprint within that. And all our higher selves, at the highest facet of us, is all the Elohim, the gods, that's our God self. And they showed me that they divide off like a cell divides off, and they come and experience these other realms. And then that cell can be like an octopus with all these tentacles, creating other facets and other lives, having other experiences. Now, the 2 international books I've got out, I've done 10 books, but 2 of them are international bestsellers called The Book of Shiji 1 and 2. Anyone can listen to them, read them for free on the website, YouTube, or you can buy the paperback versions. I've made them free for everyone. A lot of this information's in there, but they showed me, they've pulled me on the craft during the middle of the day. And what happened was I went into my blue light body, and I've been on the crafts, multiple different types of crafts with different beings, with my physical body, and I've been on there in what I'd call light body form or consciousness form. And I was in this craft that looked like a flying saucer, but what happened was there was 7 of us on it, and it was these blue beings that originally, they look like orbs, and they created this flying saucer made out of liquid blue light, the same light we were all out of, and we were in like a meditation pose in a circle. And if I defocused through my consciousness, I could see through the bottom of the craft, and I could see my house real time in the middle of the day. And they ripped me out of body when I was meditation, I could see this. But if I defocus, I'm back on the craft with these guys, and we all had a symbiotic relationship, and the craft was manufactured through thought, through a conscious, it was basically created by us through thought. Anyway, that was to show me an experience, but they don't need that craft to teleport. And what they've later showed me was that we break down the really advanced beings that don't need crafts, and even the orbs, they can break down to an electron, which is a negative charged subatomic particle, and they can remanifest anywhere in space and time from another electron and reuse the building blocks there, and just boom, 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 bang, they're there. So this is like sort of just, I hope I'm explaining this well and it's digestible, because it's something that I have trouble trying to explain. So I hope you're understanding this, or people are getting the gist.
Well, and what I find interesting about that, and I've got to take a break here, Peter, so we're going to do that. But what I find interesting is that when you hear from other experiencers about them being on a craft, I think most out there hearing these stories are thinking that it's purely a physical experience. And for the experiencers, they don't necessarily know themselves. They can't explain it. They can only tell you about the experience. And that would explain a lot how this is actually getting done.
Exactly.
I find that fascinating. Let's take a break right here. Our guest tonight, live from Australia, Peter Maxwell Slattery. I've been looking forward to this show for a while. When we come back, we're going to pick up where we left off, but also we're going to go through a series of videos that Peter's got posted up on his website, PeterMaxwellSlattery.com, also at ESETIAustralia.org. Both links are at JimmyChurchRadio.com. You're going to want to head over there and look at these videos as we go through them. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Peter right after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out! That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com. Dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church. Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing. The real oil. CBD is truly Ancient Life Oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go Beckley Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. It's Monday. Tonight, Peter Maxwell Slattery is here live from Australia. This segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by River Moon Coffee. Go to the banner right now at jimmychurchradio.com. Click on it. Use the promo code Coffee Break. 20% off of everything that they offer. Live from Australia, Peter Maxwell Slattery. Been looking forward to this conversation for a while, Peter. And the other thing that, before we get to the videos and some of your other stuff, I want to finish what we were talking about before the break, which is we're trying to figure out this UFO thing, this ET contact thing. And I know that a lot of it is truly, nuts and bolts craft. How they get here, and we're figuring that out. But I think another large part of it is interdimensional. It has to be. It answers so many questions, and an intelligent species out there, that is so far more advanced than us, has figured out things. They have. And the ability to zip in and out of our reality, whether it's parallel or quantum or some other way that they're doing it, answers a lot of questions for what we are seeing. The fact that they appear and disappear seemingly into nowhere and coming from nowhere.
Definitely. And that's the thing, even as somebody that's experienced what I've experienced, whether it's, whoever in the field that's experiencing similar things, I think the thing we have to remember is to keep being humble, having gratitude just for our experience as a human, but at the same time, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. And the thing is, with some of these beings, whether they've got the physical nuts and bolts type craft, which I have experienced and been on, or whether it's the beings that are using their Merkaba light bodies, or they're able to break down to that electron like I was speaking about, they're showing me too that they're still learning, and they've still got mysteries as well. Some of them, well, a large majority of them have mysteries. They know a lot, but they still don't know everything. And so this is something that's common throughout all cultures and races and beings throughout all planes of dimensions and densities.
Carl just tweeted, Jimmy, loving the show. Been on YouTube looking at Peter's videos. Some of the most outstanding I have seen to date. Tell Peter love from Liverpool. There you go. UK.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about communication? And how does that happen? Before I get to what you've learned, how does the communication go down?
When it started out, it's always been a voice in my head. Now, it actually was like an actual voice, a female tone when it started out. So this started when I was really young, and I would make predictions, and I've got a heap of predictions. I showed these at the conference I did for ECETI at James recently, which a lot of them I've kept secret because, what are you going to do about it? But what happened was this lady, it was a female tone, neutral accent. It used to... Now, when you got an acoustic guitar and you put your chin on it and you play the acoustic guitar, that vibration, that used to be like in my head, and it would be this voice. Now, it was because I wasn't taking notice of the telepathic communication that they had to do it with the voice, so I would take notice. And so I used to get this female voice, and I used to tell my mum, this is going to happen. My mum to this day and my father, they're split up and they got their partners, and that was when I was young, but they can all tell you the same thing. I used to go, this girl's telling me this is going to happen, and then it would happen. So later on, that being I found out was called Shiji, which is, they don't have names, but this name, or some of them do, but the name is more like a vibrational tone telephone link to connect with her throughout the multidimensional universe, which was later revealed to me. But now it's just full-blown telepathy. Some of the beings, they've got different ways that they'll use imagery, thought. They will mind meld where they're just connecting the two consciousnesses together, and there's just everything about each other's known. A lot of them can just read you like a book anyway, depending on the type of being, but it's mainly just through what I call thought transfer, which is basically telepathy.
Is there humor? Is there emotion?
Yeah. So, I've got some stories. I don't know how we could go with them on here, but I've got some stories, especially about one being, and I've had people who have experiences with me with this being. Now, this being sometimes wore a purple or brown robe, like a monk's robe, and he was very dark brown, and he looks like exactly like E.T. from the movie E.T., but he's got round black eyes. And this dude, from what I know, he's only incarnated once, and he's always been in physical form, and that his star system from where he is has died out. Like, we're talking, this dude is billions of years old, wouldn't even just touch the sides of how old this dude is, but he's only incarnated once. And he resides near Orion now because basically he's in service mode to the point where he's helping other civilizations do certain things, whether it's for science or whatever. But this dude is like the most funniest thing I have ever come across in just his sense of humor. It's just stuff that, like, hanging out with the boys and just some of the crap they say. This being is just got a sense of humor, and he gets Earth humans as well. So there is a sense of humor with some of them. Some of them, they just don't get it. So it wouldn't matter if they tried to do sense of humor. They don't get they understand we're having the human experience, but they don't get it because either they haven't incarnated and experienced it, or they're just so far away from it, like the mantid beings. A lot of the mantid beings are more like mediators and observers, and they just don't get what our sense of humor. Though, there may be races out there like that. I don't know at all. I just can tell you sort of what I've experienced.
When you hear the different channelers that are out there, I'm sure you've listened to many on this show too as well, through your research, is some of this channeling also the communication that you've heard in its context, in what they're talking about?
Yeah, sometimes. Like, that's what they'll do. They can overshadow you and use you as a vehicle to put, to give information. And I do that as well. But, like anything, you've got to use discernment. Clearings is something that has to be done, because you can't just be open to any and all possible beings and think that, treat them as gods or they've got all the answers, because there's a lot of negative entities and influences out there. And we're at a time right now where we've got a whole field, not just the UFO field or paranormal, but humanity as a whole, where we've got a blind belief system going on from people that are trying to learn, and they're trying to work out what's going on. And then you've got all these hijackers that either they believe the information they're putting out there and they're not questioning it, or they're just actually here to infiltrate, lie, put hurdles, disinformation. And this is where we really need humanity to get back to the point of using discernment, and not even, believe me, use discernment with every single thing. But that's not to say be closed-minded. We need, as a civilization, to be open-minded and have, I don't even think a black or white box anymore. I'd say like a black box where you believe it, or a grey box where if you're not sure, put it in there, because I'll tell you what, from my experiences and from researching and knowing people in this field, there's some stuff through my experiences and meeting people that I couldn't fathom at the time, or I thought was a load of crap. And then like 2 years later, 3 years later, whatever it is, I was like, I thought that was a lie and I didn't get what they were saying, but now I get it. There's truth to that, because I wasn't consciously ready to absorb or put the dots together with that information at the time. So, and the beings are going through similar things in some of the other civilizations, but it's something I think we need to all take on board.
I want to ask you about being a skeptic, because you approach everything that way first, right?
That's the thing. Like my brother's even my skeptic, because my brother's an experiencer as well. But this is the thing, Jimmy. Like, I don't think being a skeptic's bad. Like, I think even skeptics have got a bad name now, because what I was seeing in the field when people go, oh, they're a skeptic. No, if they're a proper skeptic, they're going to look at both sides of the evidence and come to a logical, with your human mind at their level of consciousness at the time, a logical conclusion based on the evidence. That's what a skeptic does.
Right.
So whether it shifts them towards going, all right, this may be ET, this may be multidimensional, I don't know, this is a UFO, I can't explain it. Now, the thing is, the skeptic field has been overflown with not skeptics anymore, they're debunkers. And there's a difference between that. I think we need skeptics because, again, it keeps us grounded. We look at things logically. But the problem I've got with is the debunkers, because they've already got a set agenda that my mind's made up and this is that and there's no ifs or buts. That's the problem, because as a civilization, and even personally for those type of people, they can't evolve and grow if that's where they're coming from with their mindset. So I am skeptical with my stuff, and a lot of people can say it's balloons, it's satellites, it's this and that, he's faked it, whatever. I accept those things because either they're an armchair researcher and haven't come and talked to me, they haven't experienced anything, or that's just their idea and that's what they think it is. And just like I want my beliefs and my story and everything having a fair go, I'll give other people's things a fair go. I just don't want them to be mean about it. You know what I mean? Like we're all trying to learn from one another. The last thing we need is to be fighting, but you've got to be skeptical. And I know, again, like I said to you before the show, some of the people are going to say it's balloons, this and that, but I rip things apart. And even for the upcoming documentary being made on myself and my wife, I showed them stuff that I filmed on purpose, like balloons, like drones, like satellites, to go, here, this is what the knowns are. Now look at what I'm filming, and you can see the difference. You can see the characteristics. You can see these things completely phase in and out in infrared. You can see them jump so much distance in time. You know, there's so many different things that I've done, and I did this for the documentary crew, and they're using 4K cameras as well, and they've got, this stuff has been analysed by Mexican TV, Japanese TV, Jason Glees, who's UK Air Force, or ex-UK Air Force, and also in the aerospace. I've had other people analyse it. I've given them the originals. You know, you've got to do this, because the thing is, I'm getting to the point now where I don't even care about the footage anymore. I'm experiencing so much. I haven't even filmed so much stuff, but I've got over 3,000 bits of photos, videos, and a lot of different evidence. But, how much can you keep filming? And if people are going to believe it, they're going to believe it. If they're not, they're not. But I've needed some things from these beings to put a basis to my case to go, look, what if what I'm saying is true to you? I don't want to push my reality on you. And see, when all this started, Jimmy, I wanted to tell the world about this. Now I really don't care so much, because it's got to the point that those who want to learn or hear about what I've got to say, they'll find me. They'll find me online, whatever. But at the time, I wanted to tell people about the Disclosure Project and the 550 military witnesses that have come forward willing to testify to Congress, all this stuff. And then I worked out that's not the way to go, because how I could be almost like a Nazi on this and project my stuff on other people, I didn't want that to me when they'll say, no, it's not real. So you've got to have that balance, but, you've got to be skeptical.
I wanted to, you made me think, okay, help me out. If I'm wrong, just tell me, and then we'll move on. Did you have the video of the ET looking around the corner?
Yeah, that's one of mine, right? As well, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
All right, let's talk about that for a second, because I had nightmares. Okay, that's a crazy video. And for everybody, let me help you out here. I'm going to let Peter tell you about it. Let me tell you from my perspective. The first time I saw the video, I didn't see it, right? And I looked, and then I wasn't watching the entire video, right? I kept going back, and I was looking at the beginning. The way that it's captured, and then you see it, that is one of the craziest videos I have ever seen. I don't know how, now, which is my first question. When you first looked at the video, how did you find out that E.T. was looking around the corner? What is there? We'll talk about that in a second, but let's talk about the substance of it.
This is great because I've never had an opportunity to talk about this publicly. And see, I could almost do this with every video that I've captured, but what happened was that night, and this is the thing, my family and my friends, like especially my family, they're going, "You've been telling us about this for years, that this is what happens to you." So what happened was I was walking from the lounge room to the kitchen, just back and forth, getting a drink, getting food, chucking stuff in I was watching TV and that's what was happening, just I'm in my house.
Right.
But every time I walked past the hallway, I swear something was like ducking back. So it's like I'd walk there and I could see something shadowy and jump back. So at the time, like I said, I've got cameras, like 8 cameras all around the house. So I had this, and I gave James one of the same cameras that I used to capture that. I gave James now. So it's about the size of your iPhone, and it's like a 10-year-old purple Meg X on, like just some Chinese eBay brand night vision point and shoot camera. So I grabbed it. And I just stood there because I'm going, this has happened like a handful of times now. Something's there.
Right.
And this has been happening to me for years, Jimmy. And I'm sure so many people listening to this show have had an experience where they're in a room by themselves or they're watching telly and they swear something in their peripheral vision keeps darting back and forth.
Right, right.
So what I did at the time was I stood, now where the camera is sitting on my dining room table. I didn't line it up because I didn't want to make out that I was, even though they're they got telepathic communication, these guys are smart, I didn't know what it was. But I'm like, I'm going to try and capture this. So I've turned on the camera and I just sat it there. And then all of a sudden, after like, I don't know how long, I've heard do-do-do-do, which is what happens when the camera turns itself off. So what I surmise is when I sat it down, I pretended I'm watching TV, but I was standing up behind the camera at the dining room table watching telly, and I saw something dart a couple of times, and then I heard the camera turn off, and I'm going, I hope, when that happens, you don't know if the camera's saved it or not because it's turned itself off. So I'm going, I hope I've caught whatever the hell it is. And then I've gone to walk around the corner. I get a bit of anxiety sometimes with some of these beings, especially if I'm not sure who or what it was. Now, I know that type of being is what I call, it's one of the types of brown beings from Orion that look similar to a grey, but they're not, but they're brown. But it wasn't fully manifested. They come in like apparition form, and when they rip you onto their craft or into their realm, they're fully manifested, like physical.
Where is this video? I don't know where it is.
Man. I'll go online just quickly. It's on my website. So if you go to my website, petermaxwellslattery.com, and then if you go to the more bit on the right-hand side, it should pop down and go paranormal videos. And if you click there, it will be on YouTube on that page, and it says alien caught on camera.
Okay, paranormal video. Okay, keep going with the story. I'm going to find it and get it posted.
Yeah, so after some time, and I've walked in the hallway and nothing's there, and it could have been, man, because I'm telling you, like I said, these people look at that and they either go, they can't see what we're talking about, or they say it's fake, or they say it's a grey or whatever. Like, to me, when I look at that, it's not fully manifested. And again, this is in infrared, so this is being seen in the infrared spectrum. So that's basically the story, and then I checked the computer, and I knew where to look, but I didn't think I was going to capture anything because about 1 millimeter or 2 to the right of that is the wall of the door of the hallway, and there's a chest of drawers there as well. And the front door is about another 5 or 6, or probably 3, 4, 5 meters from that point there. And so that's what happened. That's how that was captured. And it was just funny because when I showed my family, like, I was shocked that I was able to capture this because, like my brother said, he goes, I've been seeing this for years. You've been telling us this for years. And he goes, you finally captured it. And I was just, it is what it is. But, the thing is, people go, it's just a head or something like that. The thing is, these dudes, if you've ever seen one of these beings, I talked about it with Mike Clellan, who's known as the Owl Dude, the Owl researcher and Greys and UFOs, and I've talked to him a few times, and he's a very level-headed researcher, great bloke. He knows this stuff's real. He uses discernment. But he said before how I freaked out when we started talking about baby owls, because baby owls, owls, how they move their neck?
Yes.
Like like the birds or whatever they are, like owls, just your normal owl in the tree going, ooh, making that noise. How they move their neck is how a lot of the Greys, but though I'm saying these dudes were brown, that's how they move their neck, and they've got a lot of weird range of motion that they can do with it. They're not like a human, how they act. And so you can see that sort of captured in this, in how they maneuver and how it's starting around. But it must have known that I had that camera there, or it was knowing that something was going on, because that camera turned itself off. So there's literally I'm not sure how long the video goes for, but it's not long. Basically, I turned that camera on, I sat it on the table. Not long after saying something a couple of times, the camera turned itself off, and I just hoped to God that I had it on there, and that's what was on it.
And now he looks twice, right?
Yeah, now the cool thing is if Jason Gleaves on UFO Only YouTube channel, he did an analysis of this, and if you look at it closely with the filters, you can actually see the dude blink his eye.
It's a crazy video, man.
Yeah,
it's a crazy video.
That up. So if people have got the time and they can go and look at the video Jason Gleaves did on YouTube at UFO Only, I think he's called it Curious Alien Caught on Camera, something like that. If you look closely at the imagery with the filters and the close-ups he's done, you can see it blink.
Yeah, it's gnarly. It's a gnarly video, and I'm glad. I haven't seen it for a while. I'm glad to have finally gone and caught it again. It's exactly as I remember it.
And James experienced this with us when he lived with us for 3 months. James Gilliland from ECETI in the USA there. He saw all this wispy stuff and the beings walking around. Like, he's got it there too, but he just couldn't believe, such a small place where we're located, the activity that was going on in the house. So, as I said, we've had a few hundred people just in our house alone experience this, whether it's in the backyard or actually in the house.
Now, you didn't see this in real time.
No, I did. It was in my peripheral, but I didn't know if I got it or not, and I couldn't tell what it was.
Right.
You hear about things about shadow men or grey mist.
Sure. Right.
Yeah, it was like that, but it was short, but it was... You could just see it, but as I said, it's like you're walking, and in your peripheral vision, every time I walk past the hallway, I could see something dart back, like something was there that was small. I worked out this was probably around 3.5 foot tall. So I saw it, but I wasn't physically looking at it. I could see it in my peripheral vision, but I couldn't tell you what it was.
It's an amazing video.
I do know now who it is. Sorry to cut you off, mate.
Oh no, who is it?
It's one of these, like I said, it's one of these brown types of beings from Orion. So it's not a grey; they're brown.
Really, he looks like. Well, you really can't see anything more than his eyes and the side of his head. But plus the video is gray. So there you go.
yeah. But the Japanese TV crew from I think it was Fuji Television, they took that and they looked at it and they could see a part of a body as well with it. And you can, if you really look at it, you can sort of just see the upper torso sort of thing when it dips out. So, and they analysed it and they did I think it was maybe a half an hour special on primetime TV on my wife and I.
Yeah, it's an incredible piece of footage. It really, really is. I don't know what you were thinking when you finally saw it. I don't know. Are you scared? I mean, does this scare you, or are you cool with it? I mean, this is something in your house, no doubt.
It depends on the being, mate. Some of it, I've been public. I was sexually abused as a kid. I've dealt with depression. I used to get high in my early career. I haven't touched anything for years. And that was my way of dealing with things. And I'm telling you now, some of these beings, especially the blue beings, like the blue orbs and the Elohim, it feels like you've had ecstasy when you're around them. And it's just this beautiful, loving vibration. And this dude here that you're seeing here does sort of freak me out. I know these dudes aren't bad, but their vibrational frequency compared to mine, it's sort of like butting heads. But these guys aren't too bad. Then I've dealt with reptilians where it's a different matter again, and then dark energies and entities. But it's just like human beings. Some beings you've got a cool vibe with and you can resonate with and hang out, and then some of them, you're a bit iffy on, or, sometimes it's your own judgment.
I wanted to ask,
a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, and when we come back, I need to take a break, but I do want to, before we get into the videos, you brought up discernment a few times tonight, and I think that is the other big D, right? The other word. A lot of people use it along with disclosure. But I think discernment is just as important, and I like your take on it, certainly with your own research, too, as well. So let's take a break right here. Our guest tonight, Peter Maxwell Slattery. We've got about 3 or 4 videos that we're going to go through for the rest of the show, too, as well. Check out that video. I just posted it right there on Twitter. Our guest tonight, Peter Maxwell Slattery. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously. Go Beckley Tappy.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
Hi folks, what can I say without making claims? CBD is truly the buzzword for health. What does it do? Government institutions will not allow me to say what this wonderful oil does for us. But I can say it's non-GMO and organic. I can say it's 0.003 THC, which in plain English means you won't get high. There are those that want to squash your freedom to buy natural products. Fight back with your purchase power. In the end, it is you that takes care of your health. Go to ancientlifeoil.com. One more time, ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Peter Maxwell Slattery, live from Australia. ESETI, Australia, by the way. And this segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by Numana Food Storage, emergency food storage for you and your family. Just click on the Numana banner right there at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code is Jimmy. Every order over $100 gets an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. And Peter, do you have a Fade to Black t-shirt?
No, I should have one.
What's up with that?
I know. I've got to do something about it, Jimmy.
Man. Okay, just here, right here. Just send me your address. I'll get it to you tomorrow. Here,
awesome.
Yeah, hold on. I'm texting you now.
You don't want me to roll James for his and no.
Oh man, this is too funny. Okay, yeah, we're and by the way, everybody, we're talking about James Gilliland at ESETI when we're referencing James throughout the show. Now, back to this. I want to close out this ET video in your home. What this also suggests is that this could be going on anywhere in anybody's house, anywhere on this planet, and you may not ever know that they are there.
Yeah, and as you know, like I said, like so many people have reported seeing something in their peripheral, but nothing's there. Like they look and they swear something there, like a shadow or whatever. And I think this may be, not saying it's this being specifically, but it just shows that something just outside of our frequency, whether it's working with this knob, whether it's negative or positive, we don't know. You know, it would be a case-by-case basis. This could be what they're seeing in the peripheral vision, something similar.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the scary part for me is, when I saw this, my thought is this is going on and you may not even know it, right? And it's the way that it's shot with the infrared, and clearly something peeks around the corner twice, not once, but twice, and it is definitely there. It's an amazing video. Now let's move on to let's go to this UFO over Melbourne. Everybody can go to petermaxwellslattery.com. The links are at jimmychurchradio.com, so you can just click on it there, and then go over in the menu to UFO videos. And that's going to pop up. He's got 5 different videos here. A couple are montages. We'll get to that in a second. But this UFO over Melbourne is the barbell one that we were talking about earlier. So I've got it running here. Tell us about this. What's going on?
So that's the one I said where we were at my parents-in-law's house, and outside they've got like a pool and like a barbecue area and like a little bar sort of thing. And they're on about an acre. And this is far east of Melbourne, which is like near Mount Dandenong and Fern Tree Gully area. And so basically we were all there. Like I said, it was her brother and sisters and their partners and their kids and our kids. And I just looked up and that was there. It was sort of coming over the pool. I don't know. I can't, I'd love to be able to give you a reference for how high up, but look, it was way below the clouds. There's footage that I'm going to reveal that I've given for the documentary maker, working on our film, and I've kept some stuff just for after the documentary because I've wanted to get some of the hard evidence that I haven't presented yet. I've got, metal samples, I've got soil samples that have been conducted and other things. I've got a little tight package that I'm just trying to get everything together nice and tight. But, basically that's what I was talking about at the start of the show. This craft came over. I'm telling everyone, what the hell's that? And it was awesome because, as I said, they were skeptical and rightly so, but this is like the first time they've all got to see something in broad daylight, and they were just flabbergasted with it and just didn't know what. As I said, her dad was an engineer, very level-headed, and, the funny thing is, the first thing he said is that's a weather balloon.
Okay.
And then the second thing he said was that was a blimp. And then he said, I don't know what the hell that is. All within like 10 seconds he said that. And I've grabbed the camera and pulled it out. Actually, it was in the car about 10 feet, maybe 15 feet away from us, just up the stairs. My car was sitting there and the camera was just sitting there. So I've gone and grabbed the camera. And that's when I've tried to capture it. And I've got a bit of it. I've only put some short clips in. As I said, it was very hard to film because this thing was basically maybe on between a 20 and 45 degree angle tilt, just swinging around doing its thing. And it would be there, and then it would move like 20, 100 feet in a blink of an eye and be over here. And then it would be back here, and then it would be above you. It was all over the shop.
Now, in the beginning of the video, you're pointing up at the sky, and I don't see it where your finger is pointing. How high up was it?
It was below the clouds. So you can see the clouds in that footage. You can see the haze. It's below that. Now, what I did show at James's conference, and if I see you, I'm revealing this later with the other stuff because I've just tried to put the best bits that I could see at the time. I couldn't see it, but I've got another bit of footage that's similar to you see me pointing at it, and you can actually see it in the sky, but it's only for like maybe 3 or 4 seconds. Because you've got to remember yourself, and people go, you should be using a tripod, this and that. I'm using a tripod half of the time. I wasn't on this footage. But you've got to remember, people, I'm looking at a tiny viewfinder, and you can't see some things that are tiny sometimes. That's why when you watch my videos, when I zoom up, I try to get a tree as a reference point, something, because it tricks the camera to grab it in the pixels, and then you just zoom as quick as you can on it, because these days the manual setting is just as stupid as the autofocus. It's just the crap these days. It's not like the old cameras or a digital SLR, which I've filmed some stuff with the SLR cameras, but they haven't got the zoom unless you've got these 2,000mm lenses, which I do have. But you're going to wobble with them because the things are like, nearly 2 foot long. So I've got a lot of different cameras. I've tried different things. But, that thing, it hung around for a few minutes, and then it got stationary. And in the footage that I haven't shown it as well, I showed James, he's seen it, it's sitting above the chimney, and it's hovering, and it's doing all that crazy stuff, like tilting and all that. This is why I'm laughing, because some people are so skeptical, and they're rightly so, saying, it's been fake, this and that. But the funny thing is I'm laughing because I got video of it, and I just can't wait to show the rest of it, because we've even got it. As I said, it went hollow inside and went like liquid metal and dissolved, and then it reseals itself. It was just crazy. But what happened was, past the chimney a few minutes later, it was stationary, and I was zooming in and out, trying everything to film it, and then I just saw it. It just completely imploded on itself, and it was gone.
It was shot on December 17th, 2017. Were there any other sightings reported on that day?
Not that I know of. And a lot of people in the area, they say to me, even recently with that one in Las Vegas, they say, we don't know how you even see this, but this one was low. And I'd been waiting to hear about reports if anyone else saw this, because as I said, this thing was below the clouds. I reckon at times it could have been, maybe maybe 2,000 feet up. Like, it was low.
Speaking of skeptics, Mark from Australia. Do you know Mark Tirana?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, all right. He just said he's looked at the ET in the house video, and he's putting it into the skeptic file. The Stan Romanek file. And that's interesting. I thought the same thing at first, where Stan had the puppet or whatever in the other shot of the the famous ET in the closet, but those never felt real to me. They just they never did. What do you say to somebody that like Mark, that is suggesting that this was just a puppet, or you recreating this?
Oh, he's welcome to his opinion. I want people to use discernment, but I'll be the last to convince him otherwise, because I'm living like this. I don't have time to convince people otherwise. They can use their own discernment and do their own work, and I haven't got a problem with him for it. That's what I want people to do. But like I said, I'll be the last to go, it's not like I'm going to yell at you and tear you down and go, you've got to believe me. We need to be logical, and we need to be able to talk about things like this.
Well, I did with you earlier today. I'll tell the audience right now, Peter and I were talking. I said, hey, man, that kind of looks like a Mylar balloon. I mean, I went straight there with Peter, and he's like, well, okay, that's fine. But I just wanted to pass that on. Fellow Australian that I'm reading these other comments. Mark, he helps keep the sandbox centered, or he thinks he does. So there you go. The 2018 craft over Italy. This is another video that, okay, well, I'm going to let you take over from here. 19 minutes of footage condensed down to nearly 3 minutes.
Yeah, like we're talking 64 gig card, almost full. It would have been about 62, 63 gig in 4K. And we had three cameras set up, but 2 of them were manned by Japanese TV crew. So what happened was they flew my wife over and I to go to Italy to do TV for Japanese TV with an experiencer over there. Long story short, they wanted them as like a show thing to call in the beans and the crafts in the middle of the day. Look, that's possible, but like I say to people, it's more like calling up a friend. If something's going to happen, it's going to happen. You put out the thought. They're not a dog on anyone's leash, you know. And the large majority of this stuff, even my wife can tell you, when I get called, I get a telepathic thought and I walk out the door and they're there. Like, that's how it works most of the time. But I said to them, they're not going to show up. I think I said something like maybe a little bit past 6:30 tonight in that direction, and we have to be out on the road down there looking that way. I said they're going to rock up. So what you see in that footage is exactly what happened when I said it was going to happen, where it was meant to happen, and it went for about 20 minutes. And I don't know if I think I did get it in the footage, but I don't think it's shown on that video. Before the craft leaves, there's 2 stars and it goes up and forms a triangle, and then the craft where it's sitting there, the dot that's actually the craft, not these other 2 stars, it just blinks out. But you can see the crazy maneuvers and power ups.
Crazy
like this thing's
maneuvers.
Going back and forth on itself,
Yes.
jumping like a kilometer in a second.
Yes, it is. And what's really amazing about this footage is you've got the tree right there in the foreground, so you can use it to check out its movement and how it is. It's zigzagging. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
Now it
was crazy.
Now with your naked eye, it appears that it also turns green.
When it first came in, it was blue, like emerald, like it was like a crazy blue. And you could hear me, and then it turned green. I'm like, it's green. And then it just turned into a golden light.
Right.
Like a massive golden light. And the light, like I'm telling you, we thought it was going to land, and we're screaming. And the thing went to, like, imagine getting your fist and putting it in front of you. It went from, like, the end of a pen to the size of your fist. And it did that multiple times on and off. And it would do 90-degree angle turns. And a lot of it is similar but not the same. You know, Michael Lee Hill, the stuff that he got over Lake Erie, because I've talked to Michael a few times, and it's similar to what he called over Lake Erie that they had on UFO Hunters, but just different. It's a little different, but just the leaps in terms of different distance that's going in like a second is just unbelievable. And we were just so happy that this was shown to the Japanese people. And it was exactly where and when I said it was going to be, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, with you guys waving your arms when the camera pulls back and you see how big it got, I could, when you say it almost landed, it looks like that's what was about to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this
is very, it was crazy.
This is a very impressive video. We were talking about it earlier today. I mean, it is just really, really, really cool. And so this was, wow, watch it when it shoots back to the trees, when it goes from left to right, and then it just stops, and it really powers up. And then at the end of the video, this is what I wanted to ask you. At the end of the video, it shoots off to the left at a pretty quick.
Well, it's still there. Like I said, that was just like a 3-minute clip out of 20 minutes.
Right.
And but you really, like, you really have to point out where it is when it actually blinked out on the footage, which I didn't put up with it. I don't think it went with that. Like, you see it exit, like you said, but when it actually left, like when we were standing there and we saw it leave, like I said, it went up to another 2 stars and formed a triangle, and it just blinked out. You can just see that in camera. Some people have said, have you seen the other crafts, this and that? They're not other crafts in that footage. They're the stars. And you can use even those stars in the trees as a reference point to see the crazy stuff this thing was doing.
Yeah, you can see it clearly. This is a very, very impressive video. Very similar to some of the sightings that I have had personally. And I just see this, and I know that this actually happened because I've seen the exact same thing. And I can't explain it. I still don't know what I saw, Peter.
Yep.
This is an incredible video, and I love also with the fence here too as well. See, this is, and I've said this. I want to go back to your point. When these are low and they go up and just position themselves in the sky, you would never know that it was there. You would just think it was a star. You would have to see it move in order. And I'm talking about somebody that's not even looking for UFOs. Right? They don't even believe in UFOs, and they're looking up at the sky, and you see something that's positioned there. It's disguising itself and sitting there like a star. You would never look twice.
Exactly. You just, it's a light in the sky, you know what I mean? Until you see it do, you see this light and it starts to move and do anything, you wouldn't think any other way, it's just there in plain sight.
Now, let's go to, let me see if, no, okay, I don't want to do this one yet. I want to do the UFO over Las Vegas, and I believe this is in the, no, okay, I lost it. Where's the UFO over Las Vegas? Is that on your homepage?
Yeah, that will be on the homepage, yeah. Usually the latest video that I capture, I put up there.
Here it is. Got it. Okay, everybody go to the homepage. Latest video from Peter is right here. And this was shot 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago.
No, about it. Probably, 10. Yeah, it was only, I was maybe last week or something. I think it was last week when I was in Vegas.
Okay, take us through this.
So I told my mate, so I was in Vegas with my family, but one of our friends who's also an Australian, he spent a week with us traveling down the West Coast and then eventually to Vegas. And he had to go to the bank, one of the banks there, and I was telling him all morning something's going to happen today. And he laughed because I've always got my camera on me, but I said, look, something's going to happen today. So as soon as we walked out of the bank, now mind you, where this footage is taken is also next to, and at times it went over the Las Vegas airport. Now, again, I'm not from Las Vegas, but where the big jets were landing, that's where this was landing. Now, I can't tell you because I don't know Las Vegas. It may have 2 airports. I don't know. But where the big jets were all landing, this is where this object was. And it was this crazy light. Now, you don't see it like a light on the footage, but like my friend said, he's skeptical, level-headed. He's also into this. And it's the first daytime thing he saw. And he got a bit frustrated with me trying to break it down 100 times. There's 100 ways I looked at it to say, is this a balloon? He's like, man, there's no way that is a balloon with what we saw it do. You saw what happened. You saw stuff come out of it. And then I thought, it might be a bit of paper. Like, this is what I do that even James and others get frustrated because they see it with me, but I still have my logical mind, or what we think is logical mind, trying to do this. But when I have a few days on it and I sit on it and I go, even after about a day, I looked at it and gone, no, that is weird. But this is the thing. Everyone wants it to be a flying saucer. Everyone wants it to be a egg-shaped craft. Everyone wants it to be something they can put in their box. A large majority of these things I've seen almost look even like jelly plasma fish, like a plasma jellyfish or plasma light that's warping and shaping, stuff that is not what you can put down to being like the normal flying saucer and things. And it's not just me. There's thousands of people reporting this around the globe of weird lights and things manifesting, into whatever. Like one of my old mates, he was in the outback, Alan Ferguson, and he's a ufologist here, well known, and he was telling me how one day he was in the backyard and he saw something that looked like a 5-speed Celica gearbox from a Toyota fly over him. these guys can manufacture, project anything. So, like, that's why I can put up with the crap from people saying, "Oh, it's just this or a plastic bag or that." I get that, because unless they're read in on it or they've seen it, they're not going to understand it. But this object, I forget what ended up happening with that object that day. I think I lost it until it went out of view, but there was other ones up there. But I had a problem for a few minutes trying to zoom, because the only way I was able to get it on film was to use those power lines you see in the footage to try and get some focus, where I trick the camera in manual mode, and I'll start to zoom up on the power line, and you can see this white dot for a second. And that's when I trick the camera and I move that to the center of the screen and I zoom as quick as I can on it.
Right. There's a couple of moments in the video that it looks triangular.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. It's morphing. It's doing.
It does morph. I thought originally that it was a Mylar balloon, but it clearly, Peter, I mean clearly, goes triangular. And I'm sitting here, and like I told you earlier today, that's a Mylar balloon. Well, just keep watching it. And then at one point, it is a perfect triangle, and it's got a little black circle on the bottom of it.
And at another point, it's a perfect cigar-shaped craft.
Yes,
like, if it was a bag or a balloon or whatever, it couldn't do that. Because it's like a garbage bag or something. If you fill that up, it's always, now you're going to get different angles of it, and it's going to look slightly different, but it's going to keep that shape with the seam at the bottom of the bag, or the balloon with the seam. It's not going to morph like, it is what it is. But, and I expect, flack for it, this and that. But that's what happens, people that are showing the world or changing the world. If this subject was all known about and everyone knew everything, we wouldn't even be talking about this. So this is where it's groundbreaking for us, just to have a pleasant debate and talk on these subjects and evidences to come to some truth as a collective and individually as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of spots in this at the beginning where I'm very comfortable in going, well, come on, that's just a Mylar balloon blowing around up there, high up, and it's got to be a pretty big balloon because it's up there. That's a couple of miles high. But the when it goes flat and square, and then it turns, and it's horizontal too. It's not vertical. It's a triangle with a black circle on the bottom of it. I mean, I freezed this. There it is, right there. I freezed this a couple of times, and it's completely a different shape than what is in the beginning of the video.
Yep.
Yeah, this is incredible. That's a really, really cool capture. How did you know it was going to be there? I mean, you would never see this with the naked eye.
That's what Toby, my mate, was saying. He's like, it took him about a minute to see it, and then you can hear on the video how he's reacting. And that's what and do you know the funny thing, Jimmy? I need prescription glasses for long distance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My family go, how the hell do you see that? You need glasses to see that far. And I go, they're telling me exactly where they are. And then I'll put on my sunglasses, which are prescription. Like, I shouldn't be able to even see that.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
It's a perfect equilateral triangle. Perfect.
So, yeah, but like I say, it's telepathic communication. Like he said, he will tell you himself, we walked straight out the door and we were in there for like 10 minutes or 5-10 minutes, and he was with me all morning. We just got out of an Uber taxi to go there because we had to go from the Strip in Las Vegas to this bank where it was, because he had to do some things. And as soon as we walked out the door, I said, there's a craft. And he's like, what? And as I said, it took him about a minute to see it. So, and you can see him talking, why am I in this position? Why do I have to be here? And why am I using the power lines? And what happens is, the more your back is to the sun and you're in the shade, and the more you've got reference points, the hell of a lot easier it is to film.
We're going to take a break right here. When we come back, I'm going to go through some of this compilation stuff that you've got, multiple craft in these, and we're going to go through that. But also, I want to talk about how you do your night vision, day vision, and how you communicate and pull these in, because that is something that is going on. I have my own method, which everybody's well familiar with, which is called just be loud and happy. That's the way
Have
I
fun.
do it. Yeah, exactly. We'll talk about how you do it next. This is Peter Maxwell Slattery and Fade to Black. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
What can I say about the most popular tea on the internet? And what do customers say about Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com? A lot. But by federal law, we at GetTheTea.com cannot make claims to how this product can enhance your health. We cannot even post our testimonies without being in compliance. So how do we get past the hump? Try our products at GetTheTea.com and see for yourself. You can send us a testimony, but we just can't post it. Bummer. Our products are GMO-free and organic. We pride ourselves in being the best we can be, and we urge you to take charge of your health. We're 11 years strong, and many of our customers have shared their successes with friends and family. Protect your colon. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, live from Australia, Peter Maxwell Slattery, ECETI, Australia. Going through some of these videos, and they're absolutely incredible. And Peter, before we get too much further into this, a lot of your sightings are during the day, which I find just incredible. But how do you do it? I mean, are they coming to you, or are they already there?
Both. But the thing is, like, my wife could tell you over and over, there's so many times I'll be there, like, even at a friend's place, I was sitting there a couple of months ago and the video's up, and it's a nighttime one, but I was sitting there and we're in the middle of a conversation and I said, they're here, you've got to go outside right now. And as soon as we walked outside, my wife looked behind and she goes, there it is there, and this craft just came over and it blinked out into absolutely nothing in infrared. So what it is they give you a thought. Now, I try to equate it to, you might have something in the oven and then all of a sudden you get the thought, I better go and check it, just to make sure it's not burnt or it's, it's done right, whatever. How that thought comes to you going, I better go and check it, that's what I get. It's like, they're here, go outside. And I get that when they're in the house as well. So I've got some photos and things in the house and wherever I go worldwide that I will get a thought, they're there. Sometimes I physically see them, sometimes I don't. Sometimes it takes a couple of minutes of looking in the sky in one spot and then all of a sudden it's there. So it's really a thought. Now, with ECETI Australia, we do sky watches. We don't really do CE5 though. We'll use that term to, I guess, because that's what people are searching when they want to go sky watching. They're like, I want to see aliens and crafts, this and that. But I tell you what, sometimes we'll do a meditation, things like that. But Jimmy, I'm the same as James, and James can tell you that's why we get along so well with James at his ranch at ECETI. The more you just sitting there talking about this stuff, having a laugh and having a good time, that's when it happens. Because I tell you what, these beings want to hang out with people that are cool. Not meaning like we're cool, but I mean that are having a good time. Like, do you want to go and hang out with somebody that's negative and they're taking stuff seriously and they're like just got hardcore energy? Or do you want to go and hang out with people that make you feel good and you're having a laugh and a chat? Like, this is how it works. So, but look, you've got to put out the thought, and if it happens, it happens. Don't try to make it happen, because I'll tell you now, with a lot of these sky watches, people will go, all right, I'm done with this, I'm going, or they'll start to talk, and when they least expect it, that's when the crafts rock up. So
you're right. You're right. And I've got a loud voice, and I've got a problem with that. And it's the way that it is. Nothing's going to change. And I've been around those that want to do a meditation, the CE5, and you can't talk, and we've got to get it. I can't do that. I just can't. I'm the opposite, and that is just who I am. And as soon as I change the mood of everything, okay, that's fine. Meditation over. It's time to party. Let's have a good time. And then suddenly things happen. And I'm not saying it's me. I'm saying it's the collective hive mind.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, it is. I tell the groups, I say, this isn't because of me tonight or my wife, because my wife's an experiencer also. I say this happened for us as a collective.
Yeah.
It's when that happens, it's got nothing to do with me. It's us as a collective.
I don't like the pressure anyway.
But that's how it is. You've got to have fun with it. Look, I meditate every day, a couple of times every day, and I do those practices and that. But really, with the sky watches, it's there's so many times we've gone to do a meditation, and as we've all gone to sit down in a circle, we've had an awesome sighting, and then we go to meditate like an hour later. And like a minute into it, I'll look up and there's a craft. You know what I mean? So it's a joke with them as well. Like, they laugh about it.
And I want your opinion on this. Here in Los Angeles, where we are, we're in Burbank. Now, we have a lot of light pollution. I understand that part. But I don't have those experiences alone with Rita. We've had a couple. I don't want to say it never happens. But when you get together out in the desert without light pollution and you've got a group of people, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, for some reason things happen. And why? Is it because ET knows that we are there? And I'm being serious, too. I don't want to be cavalier about this.
Oh, they know. They'll be working and guiding with you even when you get there, and you'll think it's your thought that we've got to be sitting here, this is how we're going to do it. They'll be helping you orchestrate this. And it will be through your thoughts. Like, as I said at the start of the show, every single person on the planet is an experiencer, whether they realise it or not. And like 99.9% of the time, they're helping you and guiding you just through thoughts that aren't yours, but they will use your thoughts to appear that way. So, the other thing is too, in denser areas and in cities, They can be there, but you're not going to notice light, whether it's light pollution or the size of the craft or the orb or whatever. But, you know, it's got a range of different things. But when you're out of town and you're out of radio frequencies and things like that, it's easier for their vibration to come through because, you know, some people's energies is just like an illness to them. They just can't do it. And when you've got that in cities, it can be a lot harder, though they do come through, as you know, with mass sightings. And again, I live on the outer edge of Melbourne, and I'm getting more stuff during the day than nighttime stuff. So it just doesn't matter, but it'll happen anywhere. But when you've got that group collective consciousness doing it and you're setting the intention, you know, especially when you're out and there's no light pollution, it can really amplify things.
How many people do you get together with ECETI Australia, and how often?
We have a lot of people return, so we only do it from maybe like October through to January, February, March, maybe March, April. So just, you know, 5, 6, 7 months, depending on the year and the weather. Because otherwise, where we are, it gets pretty cold and we've got snow near us, so it can get really cold. And, you know, I start it in the daytime in the afternoon, and we have daytime sightings during it as well. And the reason I do that is because I want people to have the opportunity to experience the daytime sighting as well as the nighttime sighting, so they can do it. Then they can go within their heart and it's what are you feeling when you see this? Because it's got a lot to do with that as well. As weird as it sounds to some people, you know, some people just really get a connection with the craft. Sometimes, like with me, sometimes when I'm filming the craft, I'm inside the craft, whether that's a telepathic link with the beings on the craft and I'm perceiving me through their eyes, or whether I've bilocated on there, or whether it's another facet of me on that craft. These are the types of things that happen, and I warn people with this because a lot of people aren't experienced as they think that when they come to these sky watches, and when they leave, things start to happen for them, and I warn them that you've got to be prepared because it's like having the red pill. You can't go back.
No, you can't. You cannot. You cannot do it. The first, I've told the story too many times, Peter, but the first time that Rita and I, because Rita and I have had our sightings together. Okay, so we've shared those. But the first time that we fired up the night vision and we're out, that's when we had a very famous sighting that night. But Rita and I walked away changed. I mean, that was something, you're absolutely right. That is a red pill moment. That is a real life epiphany when you see that for the first time because you've never seen it before, right? And this is going on in the sky above you. And unless you're looking for it and have that intention, you're never going to see it. And there are hundreds of millions of people in the United States that aren't looking to the skies. And I know from my experiences, it's going on right now. It's going on right now as you and I are sitting here talking.
Definitely. It's happening all the time. And, that's all people got to do is look up and set the intention, and soon enough they'll see something.
My point to Rita, and I want to go back to your daytime, the way that you pull them in. I said to Rita, as we walked away, it was so extraordinary. Thank goodness there was a documentary film crew there, and there was hundreds of witnesses to share the experience with us. But I turned to Rita, Peter, as we were walking away, and I said, Rita, and I'm serious too, word for word. I said, Rita, if Wolf Blitzer was here, if Anderson Cooper was here, if if Tucker Carl, if anybody was here right now, would they, and have seen what we just saw, would they go on the news tomorrow and talk about it? And they wouldn't. Mm-hmm. I just know that. I feel that in my bones. I just don't think that and I don't understand, because it's such a life. They may agree that they saw it and they can't explain it, but they wouldn't go out and tell it to the world. And that's the problem that we have with mass media.
It is a problem. And like a funny experience we had when James stayed with us, I took him out to Uluru with my wife, and we had the biggest craft come in over the resort at Uluru, which is Ayers Rock, depending on what people call it, in the middle of Australia. And we're telling these people, look at this, not telling them it's a UFO, but look at it. They wouldn't even look at it. And then I think James or my wife said, look at this UFO, and they just looked at us like we're nuts. And I mean, this thing was again like the size of your fist over the resort. And I got this on camera. Part of it's in the ECETI Down Under documentary. And it was just, you can hear us responding to it, but these people that were there, they would not look up. And, you know, people with mainstream media, like, part of me can go, well, I can't blame them sometimes. As, you know they should be saying something, Jimmy, like you're saying. But, like, even with me, I lost jobs. I lost friends. I was alone for about 4 years with only 2 friends and seeing a couple of my family members, and I wouldn't see people for days on end because I was ridiculed and turned into the nut job in my town, being from a small country town. And it destroys lives. But then you realise the cause and the profound nature of what's going on, and that's what keeps me doing this and wanting to talk about it but not preach about it, because it's the most important thing for the human civilization. And it comes down to the core principles of treat others how you want to be treated, and that God is within, and it's not external, and it's not a religion, but that we need to be, have peace and civilization and respect others' opinions and differences, which all is an expression of one consciousness interacting with itself. That's what the core stuff it comes down to. And this is an experience, but you can't go from point A to point Z with people unless they've experienced or they're read in on it. And that's why I think some of these people won't talk about it, or there is a mandate to block some of these stories. Like when they put me on National Morning News here, they tried to do a nut job on me, and that's when I went to the disclosure witnesses and the military witnesses and the astronauts, because it's like, hey, you think I'm a nut job? What about these dudes?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like they have to screw up for this to be on mainstream media. It's like, all right, we're going to do a nut job story tonight about UFOs because it brings in the ratings. But, every now and then a really good story gets in, and it's some people that can present it okay to make it not look nuts, whether it's military personnel or whatnot. But I think there is a slight change with the media, that they're starting to perceive it and report it differently. But, it's been years. This has been going on since the start of humanity, and really since Roswell, it's been the flying saucer, rednecks sitting in their camper van drunk stories. And now, in recent years, they are starting to do it differently, especially like with O'Hare airport incident, the Phoenix Lights going back a few years before that. It's changing.
We were up at I can't explain. Next month, we're having our Soul Tech conference up at ECETI. And that's a 4-day event. I can't wait to get back to ECETI. I just know stuff is going to go down. And for anybody listening to me right now, just go to soultechgathering.com and check it out. Oh, I do want to do a little public service announcement about that. Over the next day or two, all of the menu stuff is going to be up there with our catering. And we're going to be sending out email to everybody that is registered to go and check that out. Just go to soultechgathering.com. And I don't even know, I think we may be sold out. But anyway, there was, and this is what I need to stress with everybody, there was one night at ECETI last year where we had about 45 minutes of craziness, and we saw stuff every night there. There's we did, but there was one night, I think it was Saturday night, where for about 45 minutes, Peter, it was going on to the left of us, to the right, behind us, above us, over at on the mountain, all at the same time. It was just it was overwhelming. It was crazy. And I had
it's crazy there.
I can't explain it, and I don't see this in Los Angeles. I don't see this in Indianapolis. I don't see this in Chicago or San Francisco, where you just look up in the sky and there's something over here, and then you look over there and there's something going on. You look above you and there's something else, and there's something that's blue going crazy over here, and then there's a saucer flies by overhead. It was purely nuts. And when you witness something like that for 45 minutes, there is no question that there is scientific analysis that needs to be done. I mean, if there was a physicist out there with us and witness that, they would have to back up and go, okay, we need to get some science onto this, because this I can't explain.
what you need is Bob Bigelow's NIDS team to go and live with James for a bit. That's what you need.
Yeah.
And what they did with Skinwalker Ranch.
Right.
And have open findings and everything on the reports too, because and James said, what he was seeing over here was just as crazy as the ranch. Like, we were over there just for a week recently, and again, every night. Like, I've been at James's where I'm fiddling with my camera trying to get it, and right over the cathedral hall where they hold the conferences was a flying saucer, like in broad daylight, probably like 10 in the morning. And this thing just hovered over, and like it's gone behind the trees, and I've ran towards where I think like the goats are, and he's got one of the old pickups out there, like it's just sitting in a paddock sort of thing.
Right.
I couldn't see it, but like that was just, I've seen the daytime stuff, I've seen the beings fully manifested there. You may have seen the footage I got of a craft flying out of the middle of the mountain I got there. Yeah, like there's a doorway there, and a lot of people will go, it's hikers, this and that. I filmed a craft come out of that light and leave, like, we experienced that all the time over there.
I've seen the footage, and I still can't. That footage is pretty incredible, and I've seen some amazing stuff up at East Eddy, not only personally, but other footage from there over the years. That footage of the craft taking off from the center of the mountain that you shot, I can't. I've got real difficulty in that, trying to debunk it in my own mind. I can't do it. That's an incredible. What time of night was that?
Oh, it was probably just to be honest, I reckon it would have been between, when it just starts to get dark there, where you can get the night vision device out. So just say maybe 10 or a little bit later.
Right.
Probably, I reckon that may have been between like 10 and 11 at night.
Now, it also looked to me, nobody told me about this. I haven't had somebody sit down and do a play-by-play with me. It looked to me like, might be explaining this wrong, like the military was involved, right? Did it look that way to you? Was there military craft or maybe helicopters that were there looking at this craft as it took off?
I don't know. Like, I didn't see that. Now, the thing is, I've seen some military activity there. The first day I rocked up to James is when I rocked up on his doorstep with my wife and said, I don't know why I'm here, but I've got to be here. And me and James just hit it off straight away. It was really weird. But that day when I drove up his driveway, we had a black helicopter probably like maybe 100 feet it was pretty high up, but it was right above our car the whole way up the driveway. And you know how long his driveway is? From that entrance, it followed us all the way up to the Pyramid House where I parked, and I got out and it just sat there for a few seconds and then it just went off. And I've seen the footage that James has got of I think they may be F-16s, so they're completely black, like no numbers or anything on them. I've had a number of black helicopter sightings there. He actually showed me footage when I was there, which I hadn't seen previously. Now, if you look at the guts of the mountain right in the middle and you go up on a 45-degree angle right, there's footage that he's got, I don't know if you've seen it, where there's a helicopter landed on there.
Yes.
And James reckons they were getting off trying to get into the door. But look, there definitely is a military presence, and I would say that there's surveillance. I would say that they know what's going on. They would have an idea of what is going on in that mountain, and I reckon there would be surveillance.
Well, that's going back. Well, going back to your footage of the craft taking off, what appeared to me to be in the center of the mountain, where there is nothing but that's a glacier wall, right? That's like an ice wall miles high.
Or lava wall, something like that. Yeah,
right. But it looked like to me that there was other lights around it that were watching it. I suggested helicopter, but is that the way it looked to you? Or
I've never thought about that or really looked at it. There may be some stars, or it could be static from the night vision, but I'll have another look because it may be something that I just haven't picked up on.
Right.
Yeah, I've got that much footage. I usually look at what the key thing is I'm trying to analyse in it, absorb myself, but I won't say yay or nay on that because I'd have to really look at it again.
Is the door that we filmed last year on the second peak on the upper left, is that door still there?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Did you see the footage that we shot of it?
I saw that. I looked at it one day, but from the weather, it wasn't the best. And then after that, I sort of forgot, because most of the time I'm just waiting until night time to look at it. And the rest of the time during the day, I'm sort of waiting to see daytime stuff. Like, I'll look at Mount Adams, as you know, it's majestic and beautiful and captures your eye when you're there, but I didn't really have a good look at it.
Well, for us, we went back and looked at all of our photography that we shot the first day that we were there. And, we had, hundreds and hundreds of pictures of the mountain. And that door was not there. Whatever it is, it was not. And it just appeared the next day on that Friday. And I can't explain it. I just can't. It looks... In the footage that we shot, it looks like there's a bunch of debris that fell off of, and went tumbling down the mountain. You can see that because it's dark and it's black and streaks that are going down through the snow. So it looks like that door opened and whatever was there fell down off of it down onto the mountain. The size of the mountain and how tall it is, this door is not small. It's got to be 100 feet wide or 200 feet wide and 100 feet tall. And it's very big. And it was just there for the rest of the time until we left. I couldn't take my eyes off of it.
Yeah, well, it doesn't surprise me. I can remember when you were breaking that story, checking it out, but it doesn't surprise me with the stuff I've experienced there and what I've seen happen with that mountain. It's just something that really... Like, you might have got a bit of crap for that, and I get stuff as well, because they're like, it's just this or that or whatever. But you've got to go there. Like anything, you can't be just an armchair researcher and sit down and actually have a valid opinion until you either investigate or go to the spot, because, like James says, it's not about him. He just seems to be holding the space and facilitating a space that people can heal, experience these things. And, that's what James does. Like, anybody that knows him knows the integrity and the discernment that he uses. But, people will call him a nut job, or you or I or whoever. But when you go there, and if you just take out what you think's going on and go, all right, I'm going to start from a blank slate, soon enough you will see something trippy.
Oh, that place that's the place to go trip. There's no doubt about it. No doubt. The point for me when we went through the experiences that we did up at ECETI, I can't explain it, but I can compare it to other things that I have done. And after ECETI, where we were watching lights on that mountain for 4 straight nights that I can't explain. And when you see it during the day and you can clearly see that it is ice-covered slopes. When you see it at night, those same areas with these lights on it doesn't make any sense. And then, right after that, a month later, we were at Mount Shasta. Again, not that far away from Mount Adams, number 1. But number 2, same structure, volcano, ice, a rounded white mountain. I didn't see one single light on that mountain at Mount Shasta like we saw at ECETI on Mount Adams. Mount Adams was like a bleeping Christmas tree at night.
Yeah. And we experienced that recently too, because I filmed some stuff at Mount Shasta recently, but I didn't see one light on the mountain either.
No, not a one. And so that's what I'm just trying to compare 2 different mountains in the same area. One is doing one thing and the other is not. And so that, I don't know. I don't know what's going on at Mount Adams, but there is clearly, when you have, blue, red, yellow, green lights scattered across the mountain like that, where it's not snowmobile. And that's the other thing. When skeptics or debunkers are going to come in and go, dude, man, that's mountain climbers. Those are snowmobiles. And then you look at it during the day and you're like, no, it's not.
Man, I've talked to so many people when I've been at the ranch, and they've gone to drive up there and they've gone, I don't know what it is, because I went up there and they've got to near the areas and they've gone through the terrain trying to debunk it, and they end up just saying, look, I don't know what it is then, because they said, I've gone up there, I've driven up there for the day. Like, I've met handfuls of people that have said that to me. So it's cool because, then again, what it is people are going to investigate it, and they just go, no, it can't be this, it can't be that, it can't be that. Either it's crafts and stuff and James telling the truth, or who knows what it is, but they can't explain it. So it's definitely going on.
Yeah, we photographed so much stuff. I went back and looked at a couple. I've got one great shot of the mountain, just taking pictures of the mountain. And going back, and what I would do, Peter, is I would take like 5 shots in a row because I wanted one in focus, right? So I just go click, 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 right in a row. And then in one of these frames, I have got, and it's miles and miles away. The mountain is 14 miles away, and I got a beautiful black saucer just cruising right at the top of the mountain. And I'm looking at the size of the mountain, and I'm looking at this picture. I'm looking at the images before and after this, where this craft is, and it's there. I can't explain it. It's about a minute apart. I want to clarify that. You can look at the timestamp. It's about a minute apart, but it's there. And
people have to remember too, Kenneth Arnold saw those 9 V-shaped objects land on the western slopes of Mount Adams going back, I think that was even 1947. So, and the Native Americans had talked about it before that. So it's got a huge history.
Yeah, most forget about that. They compare, when they think of Kenneth Arnold, they're thinking of Seattle. That was between Mount Rainier and Mount Adams.
Yep, and yeah, exactly.
Right there. It's unbelievable. Something's going on. I can't wait. We're going to be there in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, man. I'm going to be at Mount Adams with all of the Fadernauts. It's going to be amazing. It's too bad we just missed you up there. Did you see anything else? Any Bigfoot?
Yeah, I filmed a heap of stuff. I just put a few things up on the ESETI Australia YouTube channel. There's probably like 5 videos I put up with multiple crafts in each one. But yeah, like, everywhere we went in America, it was crazy. But again, it was every night at James's, it was just mental, like it always is. There's orbs. I've even in the past captured a lot of orbs and flashes of light down low, about 2-3 feet off the ground in the Field of Dreams.
Yep.
That cannot explain. I've captured a lot of crazy stuff there. So
I don't know what it is about that. Yeah, you bring up something that I don't mention too often, but the Field of Dreams and orbs, because I had my orb sighting there, and what everybody else was seeing in the night vision, going across the Field of Dreams, and I would go up and look at the cameras, and I was seeing what everybody was seeing in night vision, and it's cool. I get it, all right, but I saw my orb with a naked eye.
Yeah, that's and that's the stuff that I'm talking about with you. Look, there is some stuff, dust particles, this and that, and then you got the wispy stuff, which a lot of that could be the wispy stuff. I think it's a mixture of things, because I definitely see the wispy stuff too. I've seen tornadoes and filmed tornadoes of orbs. They're like wispy, smoky balls. But the stuff you're talking about, it's almost like a red light. On your television, the red light when you turn on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sort of stuff that I'm talking about when I say I see orbs. They're like lights emanating stuff, and I've seen a lot of that at the ranch as well as wherever I go. So I know what you mean by orb. You're talking about an actual light.
Yeah, what we saw this all the way at the back of the Field of Dreams, Peter, all the way at the tree line in the back.
Yeah, in the background. Yeah,
right. I'm sitting in a chair. There's 100 people to my left. I'm all the way at the end, right? And I'm sitting there. It's about 11 o'clock at night, and I'm just looking across the Field of Dreams, just looking at Mount Adams, and this gray, and it was 2D. It was flat. Okay, it wasn't circular. And out behind this big tall pine tree comes this gray orb, and it flies up behind the tree, comes down into the Field of Dreams, and grows to, 30, 40 feet tall. Mm-hmm. And it's flat, and it's round, but it's like a coin, right? 2D.
I know what you're saying now, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And it's sitting out there, and I'm like, wow. And I kind of rubbed my eyes a little bit. I thought I had a floaty in my eyes. And I'm just kind of looking at it, and I thought, wow. Right? And right as I'm looking at it, this lady behind me, Peter, goes, is anybody else looking at that gray orb out there? And I turned around and I said, you mean this bleep is real? And everybody starts laughing. And I turn around and I'm looking at it again. It's still there. And everybody now is talking about it. I can hear everybody murmuring, check out that gray orb. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. And I just stared at it till it just kind of phased away. But it was there. I don't care what people say. I do not. Peter, I just don't.
Yeah, and I'm at the same point, and that's what I mean. You know how I was saying earlier, like, this stuff is not what people think. Like, yes, there's the physical stuff and the nuts and bolts, but then there's weird stuff like you're describing, and that's really a majority of it. It's just stuff that you're trying to process going, am I really seeing this?
Well, I also, I have a hard problem trying to figure out what it is, right? Is it energy? Is it a spirit? Is it is it somebody's dead soul that's just coming back to hang out with us? I don't know. Is it E.T.? I don't know. It's an Indian reservation. It's magic. There's that. It's a mountain, volcanic activity. There's no telling what kind of electromagnetic craziness is going on underneath ECETI. Is it that? I don't know. Is it somebody winking at us and just telling us hello? I don't know. All I know is what I saw was real, and it was 2D. It was flat, like a Mario Brothers 2D game. I don't know.
Yeah, and I see stuff like that when I'm in some dimensions or when I'm on crafts, and I've seen bangs manifest that they almost look like a cartoon. But that's them coming from these other vibrations and realities coming into ours, and that's sometimes what you describe. It does not surprise me because I've seen similar things when you're talking about 2D. It's really weird how this stuff is. It's just, this is the real weird stuff that I wish people were talking about years ago, because a lot of this stuff people won't go into because they're like, I've told you about this experience, but I didn't tell you the really trippy thing that happened during the experience because I didn't think you'd believe me because it's just not what you'd normally hear, in an experience. So this is where it's great that everyone's sharing, especially you're sharing and got a format for people to share this, because this way we're all learning.
Well, and for me, Peter, and I really want to stress this, as crazy as it is, I'm glad that it wasn't this orb. I'm calling it an orb, but it wasn't an orb. It was flat. It wasn't a sphere, and it wasn't lit up. This was gray, like the color gray at night, coming out and just sitting out at the back of the field. Now, as crazy as it sounds, that I can only describe exactly what it was. Yeah. And I'm happy that I can describe it that way, as opposed to it was an orb, it was round, it just came down, it lit up. Okay, well, now we're talking about Wizard of Oz stuff or whatever. But this was 2D. It was flat.
Yep.
It was flat. I can't describe it any other way than that. And you can either believe me or not. It doesn't change the experience. And I'm just glad that there were so many other people there that were seeing the same thing. There's something else I wanted to ask you, though. You've spent enough time up at ECETI. We have fairies, we have Bigfoot, we have UFOs, we have things on the mountain, we have things flying over ECETI Ranch, too, as well. There are different experiences at different points of that ranch. Why ECETI? What makes that place so special?
Well, you see, like James says, it's not about him, but he was guided there, I think, back in the early or maybe mid-'80s to be there. And there's a reason for that. And I think because the place is a multidimensional portal hotspot, and you've got these natural areas on what I've been shown, even through my own experiences, is that there's a network of natural portals throughout the whole Earth and all planetary bodies throughout the universe and suns as well. And they're all connected. Even lately, they just show that there's all suns are connected through these electromagnetic tunnels, which I've been talking about for a few years, that they've all got a connection. And so I think this is one of those hot spots. I think James would probably realise this, though he wouldn't talk about it. I believe he's a guardian, like a physical guardian of that hot spot to hold space for people to be able to have their own experiences as well. So, and I think the being is know James's intention there and why he's doing what he's doing, and help with the clearings and certain things. And of course, he's got his own crew that help with that. But I think that's what's going on at Mount Adams. I think it's a galactic, multidimensional, universal portal, and all this is going on. And you know, that's definitely one of it. But again, you know, James is there, I believe, because he's been sent there.
I found it, Peter, exhausting. It was too much. It was just like too much all the time going on. It was just, I couldn't. At some point, it's like Disneyland. You know, you go and you do all of that, and you know, you get to the end of the day, and you're like, man, I just need to get in the car and go home. It's too much, and that's what I experienced with ECETI. There was one profound experience after another. From the time that we got up until we went to bed, there was something happening all day long, and they weren't all the same things. It was just like you would go from one spot of the ranch to another. You're with another group of friends. You're talking, and something happens. You know, you go to another part of the ranch. You have lunch. You do this, and something else happens. It was almost overwhelming.
Yeah, it definitely is. And that's the thing, like just your consciousness, your body, your energy field, your life field, your aura, whatever people want to call it, like that's just constantly, it's not being drained. But when you're not used to it and you're in a spot like that, like a lot of people drive on the property and they can't even stay there. They've got to go. They've got no idea why. You know, there's all this stuff going on there that it is very draining. And at the same time, you're trying to absorb all this, especially if you're new to it. Even if you're not new to it, you're still trying to absorb the energies when you're there and not be drained too much from it. So it sounds like we've got a helicopter circle in the house right now as well.
That's what's that right now with you?
Sounds like, yeah, we've got a helicopter. I can't see what color it is, but it's just funny. It's been going for about 2 minutes. I just thought it was flying over.
But you're out there in the middle of nowhere, right? Small
no,
town?
we're on the outskirts of the city. About 3 minutes away, it's all country. But it's about a 40-minute drive to get near the city.
How common is it for a helicopter to be over your house?
I've filmed a lot, like probably nearly 40 black helicopters, military-type ones around the house before, and camo ones. So for me, it's sort of wherever I go, but it sounds like it's gone now, but that's just a bit weird. So
yeah. Out here in Burbank, where we are, it's 24 hours a day. I mean, there's nothing but activity going on. Has nothing to do with UFOs and everything to do with crime. But what do you suggest? I mean, for me, I didn't know what to expect with ECETI, and I was blindsided by a lot of it. What do you suggest for a newbie? I'm not a newbie now. But how do you tone it down and maybe absorb?
Look, I just think, you know, go there, maybe take a camera there with you, have some fun. Don't be really serious because, look, being serious and even being arrogant and having an ego can block a lot of things from even happening in your presence.
Mm-hmm.
But look, go on the Skyfield, meet some people, have a talk. And when you least expect it, things are bound to happen out there. Like, it's a guaranteed thing that stuff will happen out there. But you know, don't think people are nuts and just be open to listen to stories and learn because that's when you'll start to, you know, you'll learn and you will start to experience things. So, you know, I know, like I had a mate that who was a geneticist for the government here and he went to James's, this is before I met him, and he said there was some lady there going on about fairies and you know, he's an experiencer, but he thought, you know, this was a load of crap. And he says, no word of a lie, Pete. He goes, I'm out there, and it was near the pond area, I think it was, you know, where he's got that little pond with the boat in it and the eagle's nest.
Yep.
And he said, I friggin' saw, like, a gnome and fairies out there. Like, I saw it, and he goes, like, winked at me and walked off into nothingness. And this guy's, like, as level-headed as he can get. And he goes, I felt bad after that because I was calling this lady, like, a he thought she was nuts, but he saw it and he's like, this stuff's real. Like, he knew the crafts are real. And, that's where you've just got to be open and I've heard so many stories around that pond with, it was something like what I've just told you, but he saw a fairy or a gnome or both of them. I know people have seen both of them recently when I was out there as well, but, this is somebody that's 3D scientific minded and he saw that out there and he's just like, I can't believe what I saw because, I thought this was a load of crap. The fairy side of things, I've had experiences there with seeing fairies. I've seen the Bigfoot, little Delocky. I've seen fully manifested beings there. It's everything there, but I think it's just being open to it. Don't have your blinders on. Don't believe James or not believe him, but just go there with an open mind and be open to all possibility.
Yeah, I never said fairies in my life. That word never came out of my mouth. I have 2 daughters. When they were babies, I never talked to them about fairies, right? I just never did. I go to ECETI, and here I am. I'm a grown man, and I leave ECETI, and I'm telling fairy stories, and I don't care, Peter. I don't care. What happened to me, and I know you know the story, but what happened to me up there was so crazy. It was so nutty, and it happened. That's all I can say. It happened.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is. And I tell you what, if and there were a couple of people up there. I can't remember. There was one guy that I was talking to by the campfire, by the fire pit, and he was him and I had a little private moment. I think it was on Friday, and we were alone in the middle of the day, and the conference is going on, and there was but we were there alone, and he was talking smack. And I was like, well, we saw some pretty crazy stuff last night. Right. That Saturday night, when all hell broke loose for those 45 minutes, I remember talking to him Sunday, and we were alone. He was like, well, I can't explain that. That was a lot of fun. Totally different person. Totally to hear him go from, I think my wife dragged me here and whatever, I'm here because I drove the car. He was like that. He was in that zone to Sunday going, wow, that was insane last night. Because the one thing that happened on that Saturday night, and there was a lot of crazy things, but this one, it was a saucer. That's the only way I can explain it. Flew right over our heads, and it was probably about a mile up. And if you're not a believer at that point, when you see something like this happen, and flew over us and flashed us, and then cruised away, I've said a few times, Peter, that it was so low that I thought I could hear it. Okay? I didn't, but that's how low it was. This wasn't up high. It was low. And he was there for that. And he was like, and I remember that Sunday morning, he was like, yeah, man, that was a flying saucer. You could see it. You could see that it was a flying saucer. I'm like, well, dude, okay, now you're here with us. But it was really cool to see somebody get flipped. And if you've got a friend that's on the fence, that's where you really want to take them. You want to take them to ECETI.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a place, I think, those that can afford to travel and go there. And James, James will check people in that he's just like everyone else. He's not a guru or anything else. He's there for you, to hold the space to facilitate you to just be there to be open to all possibility and open to experience. That's what it's about, and that's guaranteed to happen there.
I want to thank you for coming on tonight. The videos are incredible. Everything that you managed to shoot, I don't know how you pull it off. Just don't stop what you're doing, and ECETI Australia and all of your hard work out there is much appreciated, Peter. I can't wait to hang out with you one day. Before you go, just say shrimp on the barbie for me. Just do it.
Shrimp on the barbie.
That's what I'm talking about. You are from Australia.
Thanks. Thanks for everything too, mate. Look, keep up the good work, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I've had a ball, and yeah, we'll stay in touch, mate.
Thank you so much, Peter. Anything breaks out there, shoot it over to us.
Awesome, mate. No worries. And thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you so much. Peter Maxwell Slattery. Now, everybody, it's very simple. PeterMaxwellSlattery.com is where you want to go. The links are over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Also, ESETIAustralia.org. The links are over. After the show tonight, I'm going to go check out the recent videos that he's posted up over there. And don't forget, he's also PMax. We didn't get a chance to talk music tonight. That's how much fun I had talking with Peter. Thank you so much, Peter. Behave and be well. This is Fade to Black. I'm going to take a quick break. I might have some time for some phone calls. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Tappy. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hey, can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at naturesyouth.com. naturesyouth.com. The holidays are coming. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at naturesyouth.com. That's naturesyouth.com.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I want to thank Peter Maxwell Slattery. His videos are really good. I can't explain that stuff. I really can't. Let's see here. I'm going to bring in one phone call. But hey, Eric, how you doing?
Hey, I'm just so jazzed about Soltec. I'm just ready to get in the car and drive right now.
I thought you were already up there.
I'm going to go to Yelm. There's a little mini conference up there this weekend, and then from there, I think I'm going to go to James's place early and just start camping and just meditate out there. And I'm just psyched. I'm going to call it. I think someone's going to see a Bigfoot, and I've really been meditating on it. For whatever reason, I feel like I'm going to see a Bigfoot.
Yeah. Let's hope. I mean, that was pretty crazy last year with what was going on with that. But somebody just posted. I wanted to go back and address this. Let's see. I think it was Murph. Yeah, Murph just said, "Could you feel it or just hear it?" I want to say this. When you're so used to seeing a plane fly overhead and hearing it, right? Fighter jet, whatever, flying overhead, or a helicopter, and you associate something like that with sound. That's what your brain does. And what I'm trying to suggest here is that when this craft came over us, it was so low that I expected to hear something, and I didn't. And that's you have to look at it that way. Just imagine if you saw a helicopter fly over you and you didn't hear it. It would feel strange because your brain wants to associate sound with that. Or a plane, it doesn't matter. You always hear it. There was no sound. This thing just flew right over us. And that's in my mind. I know at the time I didn't hear a thing. I didn't. When I think about it now, for some reason I hear crackling, but I know that I didn't hear anything. Nobody else did. But that's how low it was. It was, you could see it. You could see its shape. It was trippy. Probably, if I'm looking up and imagining this now, it was probably the size of maybe like as round as a pencil eraser, up, an eighth of an inch. If it was up above, going across, maybe a little bit bigger. It was trippy, man. I can't explain it. It was weird, and you could see it when it was coming at us, Eric. It was flat, because you're looking at the front of it, and then when it went over the top of us, it was round, and as it flew away, it went back flat. It was a saucer. It was cool, man. That was a once in a lifetime sighting. That was way off the hook.
I have this dream, and I'm being serious right now, that, now that Anthony is gone, God rest his soul, but I just envision you being the guy that goes out on the road and travels, and I'll be your driver because I know all the hot spots, and we just do the show on the road.
Oh, you mean
even if it was for a month or a week or two, whatever. I'll even talk to you about sponsoring it, but there's stuff out there in the desert. I'm telling you, man, it's a thrill. It's a freaking thrill.
Yeah, and I just wish, seriously, if I had a crystal ball, taking somebody out there with a strong physics background, a physicist, out there to go and just witness this for a night or two and just try to put this thing together and see if they have any answers, because I certainly don't. There's to say that everything that we're seeing is satellites, that doesn't work for me. Some may be satellites. There's okay, all right, flying at some weird angle. Okay, I'll buy into that. But I know it's not the International Space Station. I've seen it, and I know what it looks like when it goes overhead. And then there's the other stuff that is low to the ground that flies up into the stars. It doesn't make any sense to me. And when you see this stuff happen for yourself, I think we need some scientific input here, or at least somebody to go, I'm a physicist, and what I just saw, that ain't anything that I can explain. Somebody from a strong scientific background, whether it's like a Michio Kaku or somebody just with a strong physics background, that, or maybe not even somebody famous, but somebody else.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Okay, and you and I, and probably most of our listeners, your listeners, already believe we like you said, we don't need disclosure. So, do you want this physics background verification so that we could say, "Ha, there it is," or I mean,
I'm talking
really,
about. I'm talking about
why?
for the. I'm talking about for the rest of the world.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, for the rest of the world, not for us. I don't. But I would love for somebody just to come in from the outside to. If somebody was with us out at Joshua Tree the night that we had all those big sightings, 3 years ago, to have a physicist there, right, to see all of that, or the next year, the Zorro Z, have a physicist tell me what that is. It's not a meteor that's flying around zigzagging in the sky. Just go and tell the world that you saw this and you can't explain it. And that's
remember a couple of weeks ago you were talking about the Shasta, and you kept saying power up and all that. I mean, that was the most amazing to me. That was like tenfold. I mean, because whatever was happening that night, it just kept happening over and over. It wasn't like, oh, look at that, and then it's gone. It was almost like a fireworks display up in space.
Yeah.
I mean, that was awesome.
Well, that night up at ECETI, I've got to go. I've got to roll credits here in 15 seconds. But that night up at ECETI, that 45 minutes, that was crazy. But we're ready to go, man. We've got everything geared up, ready, and we're going to hit the road here in just 2 short weeks. I can't believe it. Less than that. Unbelievable. Well, I'll see you up there, Eric. I got to roll credits and get out of here.
All right.
Thank you so much. So Eric, man, he's ready to hit the road and get it all going. ECETI Ranch. We're going to be up there. We're going to get up there early and leave late, but it's August 9th through the 12th. I think we're sold out, but you can go to Soltech Gathering and see if you can squeeze a ticket out. I'm not too sure. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camurian. Shows produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster Drew the Geek. Music Doug Aldrich. Intro Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be copied, rebroadcast, downloaded, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thank you to Peter Maxwell Slattery. Tomorrow night, right here, Curtis Don Vito, frontman, singer for the band Snoo. He's going to be here tomorrow night. Until then, everybody be safe. Go Beckley Tepe.